When you get to my level of education, you become a coon or a Negro. And what's the difference between a coon and a Negro, Envy? The Negro is innocent in his ignorance. The Negro think Jesus is white. The Negro think white people are smarter. It's not his fault. He's been miseducated, Charlemagne. But the coon is dangerous. The coon knows Jesus wasn't white. The coon knows white people are not superior to blacks, but they will act like they are because they're going to get something for doing so. The coon consciously sells out his people. The Negro does it out of ignorance. I can work with a Negro. Never trust the coon.
Thank you, Dr. Umar, for bringing us in to this new show that we got going on today. This is going to might be a quick one. Not too sure yet, because pretty much going to go with the flow of the conversation. As you see in the thumbnail and in the title, I'm supposed to be having a guest up here. I'm going to give him some time to get his ducks in a row. For those you may have heard of him, you may not have heard of him. Is our Pan-African brother from South Africa. His name is Kamu. So hopefully, he should be getting himself together. He should be coming up. So basically what we're going to do, I'm going to do a couple of stories that I saw today that is very interesting. I find it to be very interesting, and it is worth talking about. So yeah, we're going to do that. And then we're going to talk about Trump sending for it, having empathy and concern for racist South Africans coming into America, right? That's a whole thing we have to unpack. You can see the picture right here. We're still going to have Negroes saying Trump isn't racist, so we pretty much know those are pretty much Black MAGA or FBA Republicans. Pretty much, they're all pretty much the same thing. Black MAGA, Republicans, FBA, they're all the same. It's all the same thing. Their ideology and the political affiliation and what they strive for is all similar. So we're going to do that. But I'm going to do a couple icebreakers here before we get into that. So this is going to take us to Facebook. So the ancestors are happy right now, and so is all of Black America and the African world when we found out about this. To my Lord and be free. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom. Oh, all that little water that they have is gonna burn. You can't extinguish the fire of justice with hate. You can't. Let it burn. Let it burn. I'll be a slave. I'll be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free. Yeah, let it burn. Let that bitch burn. So I saw that, and the internet right now is going a little bit crazy with that. Black Twitter, FBA, all that, right? So yeah, we're gonna do. That's something that I found out is going around today, and I love it. So this is our brother Kamu. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put the link in there for you, Kamu, just so you could join at this point right now. For those of you listening, this link is only for Kamu right now, right? Because he is gonna be our co-host right now. So Kamu, if you see the link is in the chat. Feel free to join while I do another icebreaker. So I found this to be interesting as well, right? And the thing you don't understand, most of these FBA clowns, it be their own people, right? They're always trying to say it's the Africans and it's the Caribbean, but most of the people that's a pain in the side to Tariq Nasheed, they're all Black Americans. Because again, I'll say it again, FBA is a low level intellectual group of Black people, right? That come together with their their own likeness, and they all agree with pretty much white supremacy and just demeaning Africans. So again, these are people who are every day, they can't deal with white supremacy, and white supremacy is always on their neck. So they can't, they're too cowardly to fight white supremacy. So what they do, they pick on other Black people. So they all agree with their hatred of white people, of Black people, right? So let me do this icebreaker right here. Let me rewind and start it right back.
A lot of y'all. But as an African American who looks real African, right? FBA niggas are annoying as fuck. I ain't even gonna hold y'all. Like, it was once upon a time where I think they were just defending African Americans, but it's just become a point where you niggas are becoming a nuisance. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, because every time, because to them, I look too African, so they just automatically assume I'm African, even though I said plenty of times, South Carolina. My grandma's from South Carolina. I talk about South Carolina shit. They would still sit right here and question, are you actually African American? Because you look African. I'm not mixed. I'm not mixed. Right? I don't bleach. I'm not mixed. I don't perm my hair. That's probably the reason why. I just look black as fuck. Right? We not mixed in South Carolina. Niggas, some niggas might be. I'm not. Right? My family's not. My town's not mixed. Everybody's blackity black black. Like, goddamn, like niggas. Like, I hate how motherfuckers just be talking because they don't know South Carolina like that, right? Like, nobody gives a fuck about South Carolina, which I understand. But if you're gonna speak about a bitch from South Carolina, you could at least know a little bit. Like, y'all know how isolated the coast of South Carolina was. Like, everybody on that side is probably like 85 to 95% African, like especially Gullah Geechee. Right? Especially Gullah Geechees, they're like 90% African too. But like, yeah, like I'm just 90% African. That's why I look black. The rest of you niggas like 70. Right? Y'all white. You're white. That's why you're confused. You're white. That's why.
What's up? What's up, my brother Kama? What's up? What's up?
Good, good. How's it going, brother?
It's going good, man. Thank you for coming. Thank you for joining me right there. So you just saw that whole clip right there. That's FBA right there talking about other FBA people, but it pretty much proves our Pan African pretty much proves our point that FBA they're not only out for reparations. Reparations is just something that they say. They're really just out to hate on other Black people, and as far as Africans and Caribbean people, because they're doing it to their own people. They're doing that self-hatred to their own people. So I don't know if you caught a lot of that. I don't know if you have anything to say about that video you just saw.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you were on the show this other one time when I was drawing parallels between the FBAs and we have similar groups in South Africa. They claim to be fighting for um, patriotic issues and border laws and enforcement and stuff like that. But really, at the at the core of it, it's not about that. It's about hate, you know?
Yeah.
Because honestly, as a black person living on the continent, why should you worry about the next brother who comes from Zimbabwe, whereas you are working for a European settler that came here and pillaged and killed your people? So you channeling that anger and disappointment towards your own people instead of dealing with the real problem. It's the same. It's the same with FBA, and they have very convincing talking points that would make you somehow fall um, victim to their agenda and kind of sympathize with them, but really at the core of it, man, is unfortunately hate.
Yeah, yeah, and you try to draw. See, I like what you just said right there, and but when you go in these FBA spaces, when you challenge them, or not, or even just be curious about, hey, why are you guys saying this and this, that, and the other? They don't even let you get that far because what you're saying is absolutely true. These are all the parallels. Because if we both are being oppressed by the same person, why do you have more vitriol through the same person who that's in captive with you, other than fighting the person that has the most captive? And to me, it's cowardness. You know what I'm saying? To me, it's cowardice. FBA are pretty much is a bunch of cowards, and this is one of the reasons why I'm doing this show right here, right now, because I'm waiting for like the absolute anger from FBA, them screaming and yelling how to let these white Afrikaners in here. They're gonna take up our taxes. All the Republican talking points. We're gonna have to pay for them. Is our tax money? Where's our reparations? Where's nothing? They say, oh, some white Africans are coming here. Okay, interesting. Okay, bye. That's it. No, they're not flipping out or anything. And I find it extremely hypocritical. What's up, brother Anthony?
Hey, what's going on, man? Peace, brother Kobe. How you doing, bro?
Doing good.
Yeah, and peace to the other brother, man, right there. What's the brother's name? What's the brother's
Kamu.
name? Come on, peace to you, brother. Come on. Yeah.
Peace, brother.
Yeah. I just started the show, so the only thing I showed was the clip with that slave plantation burned down in Louisiana. Oh, that's by you, brother.
Yeah, it's a little bit down the road. Yeah, it's a little bit down the road. Yeah, we was celebrating. We was happy.
Answers was happy with you.
Yeah, we got a couple of more of them that need to go. What I'm saying.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I'm just saying, though, man. Man, you know me, man. I'm with you 100% on that FBA bullshit. But like, I mean, I agree with what the brother was saying, man. Because you know me, how we move around, man, and we look at our people everywhere we are. And just like we have these FBA Negroes right here, these house Negroes who want to stay on the plantation, who want to deny their African heritage. You know what I'm saying? We have them everywhere. Man, we got some of these brothers in Haiti who saying they black indigenous people now. You know what I'm saying? And in other parts of the Caribbean, on the continent, we got brothers and sisters, from different ethnic groups, different nations. You know what I'm saying? Hating on each other. You know what I'm saying? I mean, how in the hell you can't have, like you said, these brothers don't have no smoke for white people in this country. I'm talking about here in America. They have all the smoke for our brothers and sisters who may come from other parts of the black world, and no smoke for these honkies. What I'm saying, it's the same thing I say. Look in South Africa. I'm just using that as an example. You got brothers and sisters. Look here, these white folks. What, I don't know if they 9-10% of the population and own 70-80% of the land and control all the resources, the economy, and everything. And the person who you want to take vitriol on is a Zimbabwean. You know what I'm saying?
Now, Kamu, just let you know, Anthony, Kamu, he is a South African in South Africa right now. Now, Kamu, is what Anthony's saying true?
Yeah.
Absolutely, bro. And it's really hard not to fall victim to those kind of sentiments.
Yeah.
As I don't know if you can, brother Anthony, you are in America, grew up in America. So if you have grown up in South Africa, it's very hard for you to not look at your fellow African brothers as some sort of enemies, or it's very hard. You know what I mean? So and which is to say that I believe that as Pan-Africanists, we have to put more work into making it become effortless for our people to look at each other as, brothers and sisters. Because the white man has worked so hard to convince us that my next brother is here to take my job, is here to take my wife, is here to destroy my family. It's the simplest thing to do, to hate the fellow brother from Zimbabwe or Mozambique. And I think it's a call upon us who claim to be Pan-Africanists to put in the work to create an environment where it will become easy for the next generation to look at a brother from Mozambique or Zimbabwe as a brother, not an aggressor or anything of that sort.
Yeah,
Yeah. So yeah.
hey, Kobe, can I ask the brother? I'm sorry, Kobe.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Could
Oh,
I
after
ask-
that, after Anthony, after you finish asking a question, I just want you to tell us what's going on there, because since you like boots on the ground going on in Louisiana with that plantation burning, just talk about that after you and Kamu have your little dialogue.
Okay, all right, brother. Come on, I have a friend in South Africa. Well, I've never met her, but we on these spaces right here. No, I've been on a podcast a few times. It's a sister in South Africa, man. The sister's name is Nziki Mezwai. I know you heard of it. Yeah, yeah. I've been on a podcast. You know, we real cool.
Yeah.
And we talked about a
Yeah.
lot of these same issues and everything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, and Zeke is a great sister, man. I talked to her and the other elder sister Kenya Sele, sister
Oh, Sister Kanye. Oh man.
Yeah. Kanyele Litchfield, Shabalala.
Man.
Yeah, you know, I've communicated with them.
She's a doctor.
Yeah,
a doctor,
I've communicated.
Dr. Kanye.
Yeah, Dr. Kanyele.
Bro, that's my mother, bro.
Yeah, you know, I've been on a podcast with her, man. You know, we talk and everything. We chop it up from everything about African spirituality, from the South African point of view, and from
what I would like to do, because I'm not familiar with those people, and you seem like you guys have high admiration for those people. Put their links or their names in the chat so we can follow them, because they sound very inspiring. But go ahead.
Yeah, I know the sister Nziki. You know, her channel is Moya. It's Moya. You just put Moya, 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 YouTube. You know, that's her channel right there.
YouTube. Yeah. You'll see her channel. She's doing a lot of work, bro. She's I'm not too far from her. She's doing a lot of. She's quite prominent. You know, she's a national celebrity, and she's been standing on bit. She's been on this Pan-Africanist thing before it was. Now it's a popular thing. It's like on mainstream. She's been like on this Pan-African way back, and people used to resent her for that, but now most of us are falling into this thing, and it's beautiful.
Yeah,
man. It's beautiful.
Yeah, she's a great sister, man. I have much respect for her, man. Great sister,
sister.
Yeah. So Anthony, tell us from what you've seen, what's going on down there in Louisiana. Is it burned down completely yet? Hopefully.
Yeah, well, you know, for the most part, you know, and at the end of the day, you know, it's some symbolism shit. But you know, it's just the fact that, you know, that these white folks or these Europeans over here, they love to maintain, you know, these see in Louisiana we got one of them known as Rosedown. It is a famous, you know, they shot a lot of movies down there. But you know, just to maintain these places where African people were tortured and dehumanized, you know what I'm saying? I mean, like, it's almost like, you know, it's like we're gonna rub this in your face, you know what I'm saying? Like with the Confederate monuments. And I can imagine some of our people on the continent, say in Southern Africa, will look at feel the same thing when they see these statues of Jan Riebeck, you know what I'm saying? And all these other Boers, Pretorius and all these other Boers, you know, who committed all kind of genocide and mass murder and stealing the land of our people in South Africa, you know what I'm saying? You got to pass by and look at them monuments. You know, look at those statues, you know, and like they telling you this is a great man. No, this is not a great man. It was a lying, murdering savage. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you know, I mean, know the symbolism behind it. So yeah, you know, it had this one that burned down was down on what they call River Road. It's down away from us. But yeah, you know, they still don't know. You know, we blaming it on the ancestors, man. They don't know who did it. But you know, some people gotta think that some brothers and sisters got a hold to them.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. This is a beautiful, glorious day.
Yeah, because see what I'm saying. Because see, Kobe, the thing about it, it's not just it's symbolism, you know, the plantation, but what it is also, see, it's a big tourist thing. People get married at these, but they get married at these damn plantations. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you got white folks.
I've seen that. Yep.
Yeah, get married at them. You know, it's like this nostalgia for going with the wind and all this kind of bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like to rub that shit in African people's face. You know what I'm saying? I mean, just imagine they going down there and having a ceremony honoring King Leopold in the Congo. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, but I saw a documentary one time, and it was this this historian. He grew up in the Congo, and he was questioning why is there still a statue of Leopold. He went to the people there, And the people there, he's been there so long. The people there say, no, he gave us civilization. He did that. They honor it. And I'm like,
that's the brainwashing. That's the brainwashing.
It's a form of brainwashing.
Yeah, it's the brainwashing. So I mean, you know what I'm saying, Cope? You know, I'll go ahead, Cope, my bad.
No, it's okay. All I want to say, look, I'm not an advocate of violence or whatever or anything like that. But what I'm trying to say is that you got white people, they like to vandalize shit when they sports team lose. They like to, you know, they're big children. They like to show their ass every time they're upset. What I am saying is like again, we all black people, we all have some form of colonization and fear. But me, I don't live in the South. You know what I'm saying? I don't live in the South. So, but to me, with my Northern mentality, you know, if I see something like that, I'm like, yo, we need to just burn this shit down. You know what I'm saying? Like, why is that still up there? Like, they had something in Central Park about I forgot the guy's name, the king of gynecology, but he was doing it on African women, on slaves. So people was like, nah, this is pretty much in a black neighborhood. You're not gonna have this guy up here in the park. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just wish we had, thank you for the ancestors, but we are our ancestors. We should be setting that shit ablaze. That's all that I'm saying. We should be setting that shit ablaze. You know what I'm saying? Because that is disrespectful. You know, so I mean, I'm glad that happened, but I wish that would happen more. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to take food out of people's mouths. It's probably black people probably working in plantations, you know, because it's for tourism and shit like that. You know, but at the same time, it's like I want to see that happen more. That's just me. That's just me. You know what I'm saying? So that's one of those boots on the ground.
I mean, you know, but like in closing, I just like to say, you know, we got a lot of work to do mentality because, you know, we suffer from this mental side in our minds. You know, us Africans here, us Africans all over the place. You know, we got this mental side, man, where we think the white man is better, his ice is colder. You know what I'm saying? We value each other less. You know what I'm saying? And we got to just get away from that. And the first thing we got to do is just like I always say this here, man. Okay, you know, brother, you from Guyana. I'm from Louisiana. The brother from South Africa. You know what I'm saying? And we from different places, you know, and we speak different languages, and you know, we had a different culture and everything. But at the end of the day, Kofi, Guyana, you my brother. Camo is my brother, South Africa. You know what I'm saying? These y'all are my brothers. We brothers. You know, we were just born in a different place. You know what I'm saying? We got shipped off to different places. And that's the kind of love we got to have and respect we got to have each other. And with these FBA clients, I just want to say one thing. Don't get FBA mixed up with African people, black people in America.
No.
You know, just like don't get the brothers in South Africa or anywhere on the continent, you know, mixed up with all African people. We don't all hate each other. We don't all want to kill each other. No, I mean xenophobia and all this bullshit. This ain't all of us. You know, you got a couple of fools who make things look bad for everybody. But you know, I'm just saying, you know, because I'm finna get off. I'm in a restaurant right now, Kofi. I don't want to disturb nobody. But
no, thank you for joining too, man. Thank you for joining. I appreciate you.
I'm just saying, man, we got to get together. We got to love each other, respect each other, and rally around what unites us instead of all of the bullshit that divides us. We could pick a whole lot of stuff to divide us. But yeah, man, you know, down in Louisiana, you know, there's some crazy Negroes down there. Some crazy white folks down there. It could pop off anytime, man. But look at brothers, y'all stay up, man. I'm gonna get with y'all. I'm gonna listen offline, off the thing, the panel, whatever. And y'all take it easy, man. Much love, peace, and blessing to y'all, man. It's Sawabona to my brother, and peace to all my brothers in South Africa and sisters.
My brother.
Thank you, brother Anthony. Thank you. You always welcome. This is your home. You always have a home here, brother. All right, Black Power. Thank you. Yeah, now Anthony, he's a good brother. He's a historian too. He be putting me on to things that I don't even know. You know what I'm saying? He's always welcome. That though, like, and I'm glad Anthony, you know, he said that. We got to keep saying it because I don't see no people as a monolith. When it comes to black people globally, when I see them, I see myself. You know what I'm saying? When I see black people, I see myself. I see people in my family. I have a big family. You know what I'm saying? When I see people, I see myself. You know what I'm saying? And it's dangerous when you can look at another black person and you can't see yourself. Because then if you see another black person, see an African person, and you don't see yourself, that means you hate yourself. because you say you can't see yourself in an African person. That's why you got like when judges, you know what I'm saying, you can have a white boy that's a serial killer, and then a white boy, and then a black boy that jaywalked. That white man will have more mercy. And they even say they will have more mercy on that white boy. Oh, you remind me of my nephew. You remind me that they even have empathy for their own murderers, right? We can't. No, we throw them away just like with the white people, you know. But anyway, so yeah, that's our brother Anthony right there. So,
but Kofi, while on that, I think we, especially Pan-Africanists, we undermine the effort that white people put into making this situation be the way it is for us. And we somehow assume that people will fall into this Pan-Africanism kumbaya without us putting the work. I think it's very important to emphasize that even on our side, we have to put as much or as twice as much work as white people put into putting us into propelling us being in this situation, you know. Hence I said that it is very easy for me to fall into this trap of blaming my brothers who did absolutely nothing. They did nothing. They're here to find, opportunities and better their lives. But
yeah.
it's effortless for me to hate them. It's effortless. I can just hate them because it's the rhetoric in the streets, in the public spaces, in the taxis, on media platforms, on social media. The talk, the rhetoric, the narrative is just the same. These people are here to destroy us. These people are here, they don't like us. You know what I mean? So I feel like we have to put as much work, bro, into shaping the minds of our people. And yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think they don't understand the pretty much the art of war. So if you're in South Africa, knowing that white people, saying have somewhat of a majority, and then someone they don't, because they're criminal for one, they losing their grip on power, right? As far as land is concerned. If you're in the arena, right, and it's white people are at play and you are the majority, white people have done, you have to put your tribal cultural differences aside, because you being split is not going to make any sense. Do you know what I'm saying? The enemy of my enemy is my friend, and so to have this hating other black people, knowing that doesn't work, it only works to the advantage of the white of these boers, it makes no sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would say, all right, come together, let's kick them out, and once we get them, then me and you could get back to where we started off. But until then, we have to get rid of these racist Afrikaners. That's how it's supposed to work. Same thing here in America. You know what I'm saying? Instead of FBA saying, okay, we're the third largest minority, and you want to divvy up the tiny small African. There's still more African Americans in here, whatever that means. Let's use a stupid FBA definition. If you come from chattel slavery or whatever, because anybody can be an African, anybody can be African American, right? And you want to, get like ostracize someone, an African or a Caribbean, that is in solidarity with African Americans. Like, how does that work if you're fighting a greater majority of white people? It just doesn't make any sense to me. But again, it's not supposed to make sense because it's all about hate. It's all about, well, okay, the odds is too stacked up against me, so it's better for me to align myself with white supremacy other than fight it and have a comfortable place for me to be within white supremacy. Because look, for instance, right now, since the Donald Trump's become president, you don't hear any FBAs talking about, well, these politicians need to give us reparations. They need to give us this. They need to give us that. Why? Because they know that the Republicans are not going to give them anything, right? So where's all that fight? The same fight. So you're not going to fight for 4 years about getting reparations? It's all a game. It's all a game. It's not even real. But yeah, so we do have a lot of lot of work to do, and to me it's basically just it's hard. It's hard because you got to fight white people on one hand, and you got to fight your own people on the other hand that feel that it's not going to go nowhere. But Pan African is the only way African and the diaspora can come together in order to thrive.
Yeah.
If not, you're going to be under the thumb of other powers. You're going to be under Americanism is nothing but Europeanism. You know what I'm saying? It's still a white system. So if a black person is not a Pan Africanist, what system of are you under? If you're in America, you're under the white European rule with no representative. If you're in Europe, if you're an African in England or in France or in Germany, and you're not a Pan African, you are for the EU. You're EU Pan. You're EU. You know what I'm saying? So to me, it just makes sense that all black people need to get together, especially in this in this day and age. But I mean, you got something to say before we start?
Well, I don't know if this is going to be part of the conversation, but I think Pan-Africanism is on the rise right now. It's about to reach. We are about to reach our peak with the brother in Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traore. I see a lot of people gravitating towards that and demanding of their leaders to have the same attitude, which is something that was very rare to find. That's very rare to hear Africans, especially from, there was this brother, an American brother who made a video about 4 developed African nations, and he spoke about how compromised they are. So he said it's Nigeria in the west, it's Kenya on the east, South Africa in the south, and Egypt north. So these 4 nations, they have the highest GDP. They are economically doing well as opposed to their counterparts.
But hold on, let me stop you right there. He considered Egypt a part of an African nation.
Yeah, that brother. Yeah, he counted Egypt as an African nation.
I mean, is it more like aren't black people there pretty much the minority instead of the majority, especially when it comes to governance?
They are the minority.
Yeah, I just find that surprising. Anyone,
but it's very the Egypt situation is very complex because they identify. I don't know. I mean, it's this. I don't know if it's similar to white people who call themselves Native Americans, but they call themselves Africans.
Yeah, I kind of heard that. I never really like confirm that, but I heard stories that the native Egyptians there that we would consider Arab, they will consider themselves African, but the black Africans, they'll know that the black Africans are the real indigenous people there of that land.
Especially Egypt, out of those countries, so it's Egypt, Libya, Morocco, Algeria, and what?
Sudan.
Sudan. Yeah. Out of all those nations, I think Egypt is the most. They are the ones who are fighting for this African thing. They want to be considered as Africans,
But I think they're part of the United Emirates. I mean, they're part of the the Arab Union,
the Arab League. Yeah, all of them. Then all of the northern African states are part of the Arab League.
Yeah, but so that's what I'm saying. When he considered that was kind of weird. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's like people say, oh, Morocco, you got the whole Moors, and say, oh, the Moors were black, and yes, and we're African, and I'm a Moor, and I'm like, okay, but even during the times of the Moors, black people were slaves.
It's really complex, man. It's really, and you see, like they differentiate them with the hair texture and stuff like that. So there was a time, I don't know if you watched, I know America, I know soccer is not big in America, but there was a time, I think 2022, a soccer World Cup, and then Morocco was the first African nations to get into the semifinals. And it was such a big thing on the continent because out of all of those northern African nations, Morocco are the least ones to claim their African thing. You know,
Yeah.
they even wanted to be part of the European Union. Even now, they're
Oh,
not part
wow.
of the African Union. It's the only country in Africa who's not part of African Union. They want to be part of the European Union. But nonetheless, after they got into the semis, they claimed, you know, to be African. And we were shocked. We're like, how? Didn't these people claim that they don't want to be part of us? What is going on now, you know? So it's very, and they came up with all theories that no, you must look at our hair. Our hair is different. Our hair is African, and
They
our
sound
skin
like
tone
Dominicans.
is.
They sound like Dominicans. Like you can see a Dominican,
Yeah.
he's clearly like the black ones. They're clearly black, and they say, "No, I'm not black. I'm not black."
Yeah. It's a
But
whole.
see,
It's a whole.
it's a divide and conquer because the Arabs did that. So now that you don't know who's black or whatever, but guess what? The Arabs is not gonna take anybody as that's mixed or anything like that, have any black in them at all. They're not gonna do that. Same thing with white people. White people's not gonna take a mixed person and say, well, you know what? I'm gonna ignore the African part and just look at the white part. That's not a thing. That's,
Kofi. Honestly speaking, bro, me, I don't. I'm conflicted, especially with Egypt and Algeria. So Algeria, I give them a pass because they are a socialist state. You know, I'm sure you even know that. Who's the Black Panther? Young brother.
of Algeria.
No, the Black Panther man, the young brother who died. America, Jesus and the Black Messiah.
Garvey.
No, not Gavi.
You said the Black Messiah
In the 70s.
in the
Yeah,
70s.
I mean, yeah.
Huey P.
Not
Newton.
Huey. No,
It's not
after
Huey.
Huey.
It's not Martin Luther King. It's not Medgar Evers. It's not Malcolm X.
No. He
He
was a young brother.
was a civil rights activist.
No, he was the Black Panther. They have a movie about him as Judas and the Black Messiah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, you see
what
the
about
young
him?
brother. Before the night before he was poisoned, so he was planning to go to Algeria. You know, so imagine back then in the 70s, and Nelson Mandela had a very strong ties with Algeria because Fred Hampton, yeah, thank you, brother. Yeah, Fred Hampton, yeah. So Fred Hampton was planning to relocate to Algeria, and Nelson Mandela had very strong ties with Algeria. So I kind of have a soft spot for Algeria, even though I know they are an Arab nation. Even now, lately, they chased the France. They are in very hot waters with the French as we speak now. The French have expelled their diplomats. Algeria is doing the same thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, most
And
francophone countries are doing it because they're pretty much following, Burkina Faso's lead. So it's like, wait. We don't have to be in debt from our former colonial power. It's like, oh wow, we can just say fuck you and kick them out. Oh, it's our country, so yeah, they pretty much following suit. Yeah.
Yeah, so I have a very soft spot for Algeria and Egypt, man. Hey, Egypt is doing a lot for the continent, but I know deep down that they are Arab, you know.
Yeah.
I know that, but they're doing a lot to prove that they are part of us. So it's a very complex issue.
That's a slippery slope. Like to me, because like my hope, right, and it's happening. My hope that Africa would unite. You have United African Union, right? Once that happens, that's going to be an immediate threat to North Africa, right? And we're going back like 600-700 years in the past, because remember, there was never really a African Union, but the Arabs knew coming in from the north, they try to infiltrate East Africa, and West Africa, and that's why certain places in Ghana and in West Africa, you have a huge Muslim population. So once there's a united Africa, right, you're going to have the Arabs going to use those Muslims. I mean, they're already doing it with Boko Haram and all these other places. They're going to say, well, okay, you have these African places, these African nations coming. They're not Muslim, like, you know, they're supposed to do. And to me, that's when the real war is going to start. To me, the real war is going to start in Africa when Africa gets together. You know what I'm saying? The sub-Saharan Africans get together. And then now it's time to expel the North Africans. I always said, the white man, say what you want, the white man is more merciful than those Arabs. You know why I say that? And Kamal, you will know that at least the South, the white people, the Germans and the Dutch, at least they left. They try to say, you know what? Let at least give you your state back. They try to control it in different ways, but at least they say, you know what? Let us get the hell out of here. The Arab, since they've landed their foot on there, they have not left. They're ruthless. They are ruthless, brother. Ruthless. To me, that's gonna be the
and you know what you're talking about is already happening. So there's this Arab intellectual. I'm sure you know. I'm not particularly sure with his name, but his videos are doing the rounds all over social media. He's claiming that revolutionary African leaders are Muslim. So he's claiming Ibrahim Traore, saying Ibrahim Traore is doing that because he's Muslim. It's already happening.
I heard that. But it has to do with his nation. He never mentioned religion. He's mentioning economic and sovereignty.
Ibrahim Traore, bro, is rejected. So before America came to him and asked him to come to the hill, Saudi Arabia offered him, I think, around 10 billion or something to build mosques in Burkina Faso, and he said no. My people my people can pray. He said my people can pray anywhere. We don't need investment for people to go and pray. So keep your money. And that was interesting.
Farrakhan would have took that shit. Farrakhan would have took it. He did the same thing with Gaddafi. When Gaddafi, like in the 80s and stuff, was like, hey, here's some money or whatever. I mean, that's solidarity, but I always say solidarity is not gonna come between, like Dr. Clark says, only Africans can fix African problems. So if you have someone coming here saying, oh, me as an Arab, I'm gonna give you money to unify against a religion and a culture that got nothing to do with you, it's not gonna work. And that's how they're able to infiltrate. Is that, to me, the final battle in Africa, as far as like complete liberation, is going to be the Arabs and religion, because you're going to have problems with the Christians, and you're going to have the problems with the Muslims, because the Arabs are going to be like, you know what, we could do everything on our own. And when Africans realize self-recognition, like, hey, we don't need these things, and you started rediscovering who you were, you're like, we were good before you came in here. Matter of fact, we're supporting you, we're feeding you. You know what I'm saying? So we gotta get there. We're gonna get there one day. But let's back to this topic here. So that was a good icebreaker that we had. Thank you, Brother Anthony. Thank you for the chat. Everybody came out here that's contributing to the chat. We're gonna get to our main event right here, and with our brother Kamu, we're gonna pretty much just look at this video real quick, and then we're just gonna comment on it. And we have a brother that's in South Africa right now, that's on the continent, and he can speak more to what's going on there and how he feels about those Africans. He probably happy. Kamu, you probably happy that you got 59 less white people.
Man, you must never set foot here again ever, bro.
I know you must be happy, but let's play this video and see what's going on. Then we'll comment on that afterwards.
Says white South Africans, especially farmers. The administration says white South Africans, especially farmers, are being discriminated against, denied job opportunities, and have been subject to violence because of their race.
It's a genocide that's taking place. White farmers are being brutally killed, and their land is being confiscated.
Welcome to the United States of America.
Kamu, are white South Africaners being brutally killed and massacred right now?
That's absolutely nonsense, brother.
Okay, just checking. No, go ahead.
That's a fabrication of an agenda that they are trying to. I mean, this is bigger than what you guys see. It's way bigger than this, bro. So you know how America deals with people that say no to America.
Yeah.
This is just an icebreaker. They are going to deal with us, bro. Very ruthlessly.
Yeah.
They're just trying to build up this night. It's the same thing that happened with Saddam Hussein. It's the same. They're building an agenda and they're trying to gain momentum, build international solidarity, and when times come, they're gonna strike. They're gonna strike. So we need to be very careful as South Africans. We need to be very careful with this situation. It's a very dangerous situation, bro.
Yeah, anytime America try to vilifies indigenous populations, it's always black and brown populations. Yeah. So we see the okie doke coming. So let me keep playing. I just wanted to check with you because even in I'll show proof on as far as like show proof of why there's a genocide not happening at all. The world organizations and things like that also agree that there's no genocide happening there.
On Monday, members of the Trump administration welcomed 49 Afrikaners to the U.S.
We're sending a clear message that the United States really rejects the egregious persecution of people on the basis of race in South Africa.
The South African government strongly disputes claims of discrimination and violence and says allegations of genocide have been widely discredited. Meanwhile, Trump's move has prompted the Episcopal Church to end a decades-long partnership with the U.S. government, helping resettle refugees. The church citing moral opposition to resettling the new arrivals in light of its commitment to racial justice and reconciliation and its ties to the church in South Africa.
It also saddens us to see that other refugees who are being denied entrance to the United States are people, brave people who've worked alongside of our military.
As the Trump administration.
Now, from a human aspect, that is true. I'm not caping for people from Afghanistan or whatever. All these people, you have Palestinians, you have people from Afghanistan, you got people from Haiti, right? That people that fought alongside U.S. military. They're supposed to have presidents here. Trump is saying no to all of them. Legal presidents and residents here. He's saying no to all of them, and he's expediting racist Boers to come in. But then I'm pretty sure there's some MAGAs and some black MAGAs are saying, oh, that's not racist. I forgot to put that. There was a bunch of them saying that, oh, I have no problem with that. But just goes to show you how wicked Trump is. And it's not even been 6 months yet. So shit is still getting started.
Administration launches this new South African refugee program. It's announced the end of protected status for thousands of Afghans in the U.S., saying the conditions in Afghanistan have improved enough for them to return home.
The situation in Afghanistan is completely unstable for a number of different populations that I think Christians care about, namely Christians, religious minorities, and women and girls.
Chelsea Sobolik with World Relief tells CBN News that for Christians especially, going back to Afghanistan would be a death sentence.
Afghanistan's currently under the Taliban rule, and Afghanistan has what's called apostasy laws. So it's illegal actually for someone to convert from being a Muslim to another religion. So we're continuing to urge the administration to offer protection for Afghan Christians who, again, would face violence or.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Yeah, everyone know basically that's what an apostate is. And not to go off on a religious chant, but people get mad at Muslims. Say, oh, Islam is so evil. Is it? The same thing is in the Bible. The same things in the Bible. You know what I'm saying? The same things in the Bible is that 11th commandment that, you know, saying you should kill or be rid of and of anyone who doesn't believe in Yahweh or Elohim, right? It's the same thing. So I just find it very hypocritical when, you know, when Christians think they're at a you know, they're a better standard of morality than other religions, right? So Kam, you have anything to say about that video before I go further?
Well, it's just American nonsense, bro. For me, what I'd say about this whole situation is that they're building a narrative very carefully, and they're trying by all means to buy the public's trust and legitimizing their story by blocking and neglecting and not highlighting the truth and facts on what's really going on and what their actual agenda is about South Africa. But as we unfold with the story, brother, I'm gonna spill some beans about what's really going on.
Yeah, we really need to get in contact with you, and I'm glad you could have good foresight to know, like, oh, okay, I seen this play before. You're gonna say that we're doing something that we're not doing, and pretty much demonize the black people there in South Africa, and so, you know, they could pull on the white heartstrings of white people and people that are anti-African. So when they, you know, invade or in any way, people will just, you know, look the other way. So yes, that is what's going to happen, and hopefully let's hope that doesn't happen. So right now, the ADL, anyone who the ADL, it means the Anti-Defamation League. So Anti-Defamation League is an organization that pretty much tells you pretty much the authority on what's genocide, what isn't genocide, what are white supremacist groups, things like that. So that's what the ADL is. So if you're going to ADL, it said the racist obsession with South African white genocide. Real quick, I'm not gonna read the whole article. It said the white supremacists across the U.S. with exuberance after a recent tweet by President Trump claiming that he had asked State Department to closely study farm explosions and the large-scale killing of farmers in South Africa. Right? This is in the past. This is 2018. By paraphrasing Fox News host Tucker Carlson, because Tucker Carlson is no longer on there. The reason why Tucker Carlson is no longer on there, for those of you who may not know, it was a part of the defamation lawsuit that Fox News, along with Donald Trump, saying that the 2020 election was stolen. It was Dominion voting machines sued Fox News for misinformation. Fox News even didn't take it to court. They settled out of court, had to pay them hundreds of millions of dollars, and shortly after that, bye Tucker Carlson. Just to give you guys of why, right? What happened back then. So host Tucker Carlson, whose remarks on the subject apparently inspired the tweet. The president made it clear that he was referring to white South African farmers. Here's Donald Trump's tweet right here. I have asked Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, to closely study the South African land and farm seizures and explosions and the large-scale killing of farmers. South African government is now seizing land from white farmers. So something that he couldn't do in his last administration, you know, with COVID and a whole bunch of other stuff, and him, you know, a whole bunch of, you know, what was going on back then. So it was something that was always on his mind to do. So we know Trump's, you know, second term, hopefully be his last term, he's gonna go ape shit, batshit crazy, and that's what he's doing. So to the point where we're trying to say right now with this article, it says the disturbing tweet closely echoed long-lasting and false white supremacist claim that South African white farmers and government sanctioned targets for large-scale racially motivated killings about South Africa's black majority and the actual white genocides occurring in South Africa. So according to the ADL and our brother Kamu, it's not happening. at all. And that's pretty much that's why I wanted to show that article right now. So I pretty much wanted to do that to show proof of that. Anything else you want to say about that, Kamu?
Yeah, so I'm glad the ADL has clarified that. But there are various sources that do the same thing. Even American research agencies, there are quite a lot of them who clarify the thing. So we already know that that's nonsense. And the first time we had these allegations, my government sent a delegation to Washington, D.C. to explain. And, I really found it very unnecessary for my government to do that. They're even doing it now. Tomorrow on Sunday, my president will be leaving to Washington to do that whole nonsense thing of talking and convincing them that there's no genocide happening. But let me tell you what's really going on. It has nothing to do with that. This is about two things. It's about the trade route, which involves Cape Town, and about untapped mineral resources in South African land. So South Africa has been known for natural resources. So we have abundance of, we have the deepest gold mine in the world, gold reserves. We have the biggest, not the biggest, but I think it's top 5 diamond mining. We are the biggest producers of platinum. We are one of the significant producers of coal, which is very important for energy. So untapped resources that I'm talking about is oil, which is very important, and uranium. Uranium is a necessary critical mineral necessary used to create nuclear weapons. There's a neighboring country which was part of South Africa until 1990. It's called Namibia. Namibia has been the biggest supplier of uranium to America. Now, recently this year, they've elected a female president who takes no nonsense from the West. She cut ties with America, expelled American diplomats, a few of American diplomats. She nationalized the mining sectors in Namibia. She's forming alliances with North Korea. And now America is screwed. There's a whole situation going on in the DRC. We know DRC is the richest, minerally richest nation on the earth, on the planet Earth. And there was an incident also there. South Africa had sent troops to stabilize that region because American companies are exploiting the mineral resources of that country. But it's not only America. The DRC situation is very complex. It can take us the whole day talking about it. I don't want to go there. Let's focus on South Africa. So yeah, it's uranium and oil. Now the untapped oil has a belt. If you look at the South African map, South Africa is the tip of the continent, and that belt runs from the eastern part to the western. So it's from Atlantic Ocean to Indian Ocean. It's a belt of untapped oil.
That'll be on the east side, right?
No, both east and west.
Oh, east and west. Okay.
Yeah. So now, with the BRICS thing, the BRICS as an alliance is growing, and Saudi, UAE, and Iran, Egypt, all of these nations are now additional parts of BRICS nations. Now, where does this interlink? It connects with the fact that the Suez Canal, America has been encountering problems in the Suez Canal because the French are involved there. A lot of people are involved there. And the Houthis, there's a rebel group, so-called rebel group in the typical south of the Arabia Peninsula. You know, that country there is not stable. There's a lot of so-called terrorist groups who are fighting there.
Yeah, I'm familiar with
they're
the
making
Houthis.
Yeah, the Houthis. They're bombing American ships. They're making it very hard for America to do trade. They're making it very expensive. Now, the alternative to that is the Cape Town route. And when
Okay.
America takes the Cape Town route, they have to at least refresh when they get to Cape Town. Now, here's where the problem lies. After the African National Congress lost majority, which was the party of Nelson Mandela, in their past elections, I think it was last year, they lost. They dropped to 40%. They had to form an alliance. Now, you know, this thing of us Africans not wanting to work with each other, egos and stuff like that, brothers couldn't find each other. Now, this party ended up merging and forming a government with a former apartheid party
Oh,
that has
really?
emerged as yeah. So apartheid people are back in government, bro. We're kind of screwed now. You know, they formed an alliance with that party. It's called the Democratic Alliance. They're trying to clean their image, present themselves as a non-racial party, which is nonsense. Those who know that it's an apartheid party. So my government formed government with those people. Now, America had hoped that had that happened, they were going to get deals because their people are back in power. And
Yeah.
that isn't happening. It's not happening. If anything, the African National Congress is somehow becoming more revolutionary. They passed
Even under
the law
that
bill.
party where that they unified with the all apartheid that they're trying to clean up their act.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
now they passed the law, the land expropriation bill, which we've been crying about. You know, we don't own land. We've been crying for the land thing for over now. This year, it's the 31st since democracy. We've been for 31 years. We've been crying about land. We want to rectify the 1913 Land Act, which has forcefully removed Black people out of urban centers, urban areas to so-called Bantustans, which are homelands. So now, South African National Congress has passed that into law, and they're gonna expropriate land. That's where Americans saw that shit is about to go down. After that law was passed, they started creating those
Around what year was
narratives.
that? Around what time was that when that law was
It's
passed?
this year, bro. It's like early this year, yeah.
Okay.
Elon Musk. So Elon Musk, I think my president was in America. I'm not particularly sure with this, but I think my government was in America, and they were discussing. Elon Musk had a meeting with our state president, and we assume that after that meeting they couldn't agree on terms. So we have one of the things we pride ourselves with as Black people post apartheid is we created this law that's called the Black Economic Empowerment. So in order for multinationals to operate in South Africa, there's a certain quota level that they have to reach, which means a certain percentage of shareholders should be given to Black people specifically because we were previously disadvantaged. So Elon Musk wanted to bring his companies to South Africa, and we told him, look, our law provides that if you want to do that, you must give this certain portion to Black people specifically. And he couldn't take it. He said, no, I'm not having that. Now, Elon Musk went to social media and started spreading fake news that he's not allowed to do business in South Africa because he's not black. You know,
the
imagine, bro.
racist Elon
Imagine.
apartheid baby is saying that.
Yeah, imagine. He said he's not allowed to do business in South Africa because he's not black. South Africa has, he said, 148 racist laws. He said we have racist laws. We are purposefully and denying white people business, and even worse, there's a genocide. So even this whole genocide thing, to become as prominent as it is now, Elon Musk was a main proponent of it. He was a main proponent.
So basically,
so
he was using his own social media to spread propaganda.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not surprised, and that's why when he took over Twitter, I had issues with it because he was and he was pretty much messing with the algorithm. So you really couldn't tell what's false and what's true, and so I don't even use Twitter anymore just for that reason.
And I remember vividly, you were the only one who was opposing that. We were like, bro, what are you talking about? I remember that, bro.
Yeah.
You were the only one who was not taking it. You were saying, nah. We're saying, bro, Twitter's going to be good. I remember all of the guys, man, who were on your neck. You're saying, nah, bro, what are you talking about? This Elon guy is, and we were saying, no. And now we see, bro, yeah, you're actually correct.
Yeah, because like, I mean, there's a reason why he bought Twitter. So when people say, oh, he's the richest man in the world, what does he want? He want control. You know what I'm saying? It's in this country, it's freedom of the press. No one has complete control over the press. So it's freedom of the press. Wow, that's something that he wants to control now. So he wants to control the narrative. Like even when you look at, I know this is real life, but even when you look at movies, the evil guys, the evil geniuses are always they're ready, filthy rich. But what do they want? What else is there to have? The world. They pretty much want to control the world, So Elon Musk is pretty much that evil genius that that people you see in movies. You know what I'm saying? So this because I wasn't too familiar with it. Hold on a second. Oh no, that's not a good site. I'm trying to get something factual here. Then a Breitbart thing came up. So I want to talk about if this is the organization that you're talking about right here. Hold on a second. Let me share it. Let me share it real quick, because I did not know too much about this organization. Oh no, stupid ad. Trying to find. Yeah, is it the EFF?
Economic Freedom Fighters.
That's what you were talking about, right?
Not specifically. No.
Okay.
They are the fourth largest political party, but they are quite prominent on the continent and internationally. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Because I was researching it, and I was looking at Julius Malema. He's a big figure there. So I was trying to figure out where does he play in all of this.
Okay. So look, man, and I don't like doing this, but I have my issues with the brother. I believe he's a CIA agent, which is a very wild assumption. It's a very wild assumption. I believe that he's an instrument of white supremacy, and I believe that he's a demagogue, basically a fake Pan-Africanist. But with that being said, he has done quite a lot in antagonizing white supremacy. So we had during apartheid, we had a chant that we famously did when we were fighting and demonstrating. And the song was simple. It was kill the Boer,
Yep.
which are Afrikaners. Kill the Boer, kill the farmer. So of
Yep.
late, he's the only politician who's still standing on that business. No one is singing that song anymore. So
Hold on. Let me play
economic
for the people who don't. Let me play for the people who are not familiar. I'll play it real quick.
So what you're listening So what you're listening to is a video of a South African political leader, Julius Malema, chanting "Kill the Boer" in a now viral clip that has even gotten the attention of South African-born billionaire Elon Musk. The Boer in the song is a reference to white South African farmers who are descendants of European colonists known as Boers, who, although are the racial minority, are now majority landowners in the country. The song dates back to South Africa's apartheid system of race based on segregation under white minority rule, which only ended in the early 1990s. Malema led these chants during a packed rally of nearly 100,000 people at an event marking the 10th anniversary of his political party, Economic Freedom Fighters, in Johannesburg, which is South Africa's largest city. Musk claims that organizers were openly pushing for genocide of white people in South Africa, but many historians and journalists, including Malema in a 2022 statement, have argued that the song is not meant to be taken literally, rather to mobilize support against discrimination of the majority Black population who still feel the effects of apartheid decades later.
Yeah, so I was gonna play that. So, but
so what you're listening.
So I'm glad you mentioned it, Kama. But go ahead.
Yeah, so that's a song that is very close to our hearts, bro. Like, so long as we are still oppressed and feel like we haven't reached the level of freedom that we have aspired, or we've been aspiring to reach, because even Nelson Mandela said the struggle is not done, a luta continua, you know. So he's the only one. I gotta give him credit for that. My feelings aside, my opinion aside, I gotta give him credit for standing on business, especially with that. So there's a racist lobby group here. It's called AfriForum. It's a bunch of Boers. They are actually the ones who came up with this whole nonsense thing of genocide. So after he did this, they took him to court. He went to court, and then the court was in his favor. The racists still couldn't take it. So we have our legal system, bro, is very broad. They took him to high court. They lost. They took him to Supreme Court. Supreme Court. They lost, and now they took him to Constitutional Court. It's like the highest court on the land.
Okay.
They still lost it. So they took him to all courts on the land, and they lost. Now, what was the only solution for them was for them to go international, and that's how they started this genocide thing. They went to the White House, and they said,
yeah, because they get more sympathy internationally.
Exactly. There's even more, they went international and stuff like that. But hey, man, when it comes to a direct rhetoric that doesn't nest the feelings of white people, this political party has been doing that exactly. So the Economic Freedom Fighters has been doing what the African National Congress, which is in government now, has been doing during apartheid. You know, when you go to their website and look at their 7 cardinal pillars, they talk about land redistribution, they talk about nationalization of mines, they talk about the unity of Africa, all of those nice things. And I think that poses a threat, even though some of us believe that their leader might be compromised, but the political party in and of itself, because if it happens, I think the threat that white people know is that should it happen that they kill the leader and someone emerges from the ranks, they will emerge with a clean and a concise ideology. Meaning someone like Ibrahim Traore could be born from those
Yeah.
ranks, Yeah.
But I'm going to push back a
I
little bit. I mean, you're more
Yeah.
immersed in what's going on, and because what you're saying is very interesting about Julius Malema could be as a plant like a CIA asset, but
He definitely is, bro. Definitely.
I kind of, but it kind of goes back to what you're saying. He is, but why someone that antagonistic will be a CIA asset that's galvanizing the people to realize that, hey, look, this is your land and you need to fight. What interest would that be in the West?
So the template that I use to judge a Pan-Africanist is what you do with the power you have, right? So first of all, he's the only radical leader that supports the LGBTQI nonsense. We don't do that
Oh,
nonsense
really?
in Africa, bro.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow. I did not know
he
that.
has an entire flag, bro. A rally with an entire flag. We don't do that nonsense in Africa, bro.
Okay, so the LGBTQ, what else is a westernized ideology that he has?
So it's the LGBTQI and the bourgeoisie style of leadership.
Okay.
So when you study revolutionaries on the continent, bro, you would see that they were very close to their people. I don't know if you know Thomas Sankara.
Yeah, Thomas Sankara. Yeah, Sankara. They were very
You understand?
Grassroots.
You understand?
Yeah.
Exactly. This brother, bro, he stays like in upbeat market, like even the house that he stays in is owned by an Italian cigarette smuggler who's a white supremacist.
What?
He doesn't even own his house. You understand, bro? You understand?
Oh, wow. Okay, I
The
see
money,
what you mean.
The money he used to form a political party was funded by the same cigarette Italian smuggler, and he publicly accepted that. He did not deny those claims. He publicly accepted that he was funded by an Italian drug smuggler, and he stays in one of the properties owned by that guy, and that property is in a very high social class. He wears very expensive shoes, bro. Like his fashion essence is very expensive.
So I guess
he drives around.
So okay, I see what you're saying. So it's like he's doing the good work, but when he get to the place where he wants to, he's gonna let a whole bunch of rich white people continually to rule South Africa.
Yeah. Basically, he's gonna do what the African National Congress of Nelson Mandela did to us. So we can't have that twice, bro. You can't fool me twice.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. But as far as like the only real boisterous party that's going on there in South Africa, so it's like you gotta take the good with the bad. You kind of forced to take the good with the bad.
Yeah.
So real quick, let me introduce Ditso, and I'm gonna read this article real quick. What's up, Ditso?
What's up, Coffee, Kamoi? Glad to be here. I don't have that much time. I just wanted to give and contribute something to this point of conversation, and I will just make it simple. If we analyze what decolonization has been for the past 250 years, particularly in the areas of Africa, Latin America, Caribbean, and Asia, we have to conclude that process in the last 250 years has been extremely hard because, A, the process of decolonization and social restructure of the impacts of that colonization have not been done accordingly or correctly or with a view for the future. So this whole idea of westernized, and I let me just open my camera and I say westernized, It's a falsehood that everybody falls upon. There's no such thing as Western. Let's be clear on that. There's Western Hemisphere, Western European, Western Africa, Western Asian countries that are closer to Middle Eastern. But the notion of this whole concept of westernized is bullshit. It's a lie. What is true is that we here in Latin America, hello, I'm in Latin American, born and bred here in my history, is that what originated from the Western Hemisphere was the first areas of the world ever to defy the European monarchies and beat the crap out of them and become independent 150 years prior to what then happened in Africa post Second World War. Of course, with the exception of Libya and what was the second other country that became independent in
Ethiopia.
1847 or 1147 was Libya. And then
Ethiopia was never colonized, so yeah.
Yeah. So anyhow, but then the majority of Africa became independent end of the war, 40s, late 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. So we see that movement happen. So that being said, I think it's very important. For example, this whole thing about the Afrikaner refugees, the white genocide. I think I'm using this air quotes correctly. It's bullshit. Because what we see here is, okay, and I quoted it on part of this thing, and I'm going to quote one of the articles. You can put it on the chat if you could help me with that. This article, which explains what is this thing, this expropriation act, this recent expropriation act. You must not confuse it with a confiscation act. Those are two different things. The White Afrikaners are claiming confiscation, and that's bullshit. What has happened is expropriation. They're even getting paid for in a most just way when the government comes in and says, "Well, we got to take that land back." Sorry, hey, you have that land because of colonization. You pretty much stole that land, but fine, we'll pay you a little bit, a just amount. Get the fuck out. Type of thing, which is a logical step on this whole decolonization aspect. So, just to make it very concrete, me, Kofi, I could go for hours. All I want
Just keep in mind. Yeah, I know we could talk this way. Just keep in mind, Wanda's going to go next, because I want to read this article, and I have one more thing for us to talk about. Then we could just shoot the shit after that.
Yeah. So, in very short and concise way. To Brother Como, I'm sorry. I think that in this type of conversation, we have to be extremely careful of not falling into a propagandized, ideologized conversation. There's no such thing as a West. And when we're referring to the impacts of European nations / United States, in their intervention and their systematic and continuous interventionism in our areas, what we would call the Global South, aka Global South, we have to acknowledge that democracy and the republics are a construction of us, not them. But undoubtedly, people that are like the individual you were talking about,
Julius Malema,
the opportunists and the loudmouths who sometimes obtain a following have always to be seen with a magnifying glass. Even our founding fathers. Because we have to recognize that revolution is also fraught with the mistakes of humans.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for that. Thanks for that. Our brother Buana. What's up, Buana? What's up? What you got to say?
What's up? What's up? What's up, Kofi? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, brother. I can hear you.
Great, great, great. I have several questions for respect to everyone else on the panel. I have several questions for the South African brother. I'm familiar with some of the South African politics, so I don't know if he would mind me asking him a few questions. The first one is he said that Malema, he thinks that Malema is a CIA agent. So my question to him is, and his reasons for it is he said that because Julius Malema supports the LGBT community. So I'm asking, doesn't Ramaphosa, the ANC and Ramaphosa, don't they support the LGBT community as well? And if they do, why wouldn't you consider him to be a CIA operative as well? That's the first question. The second question is he made an accusation. He said that Jacob Malema money is funded by an Italian criminal smuggler. Now, I don't know if he knows this, but where monies come from during a political election, sometimes it comes from various different places. We could make that accusation about many people we support, because to fund political campaigns sometimes they come from. What do you expect? You expect the money only to come from good, nice people, or you expect the money to come from people who are actually going to support you and ensure that your political party continues, especially when you don't have any money. So I think it becomes a question of morality and where your morals and principles lie. Some people would say, hey, the fact that he's a criminal is that's all right, as long as I'm able to do the things that I need to do. And then he said that the guy is a white supremacist. Well, let me say this, and a lot of people don't know this. I don't know if he knows about the Nation of Islam. Um, But the Nation of Islam was funded by a white supremacist. It was funded by a guy named H.L. Hunt. I don't know if people know that, but just look it up. He funded Elijah Muhammad because their ideas were consistent. He wanted separation, and Elijah Muhammad wanted separation. So they both agreed. But the fact that he had the money to ensure that they were gonna create separate communities, he decided to get in business with him because of that. So I don't want to get into the politics of that. Right? It's just several things. Then and then I have questions, some more questions after that is.
Yeah. Let him answer.
Brother can answer them. Yes.
Yeah. Go ahead, Kamo.
Okay. Thank you, brother. So let me start with the first one. What about the current president? So, brother, the African National Congress has been compromised. So it was, I hope I'm not going to take long. Let me give you a brief history of the African National Congress. The African National Congress was created just after the Land Act was passed in 1913. It was a reaction from the black elite at that time. So we had brothers who had gone to America to study, who had gone to Britain to study, and they had come back home. Now, South Africa was formed as a nation, as a country in 1910. So it only took them 2 years or 3 to form a black political party, right? That party was established by black intellectuals, black religious leaders, and black opulent business personalities, and that culture has been consistent until 1950, which was the first resistance that Africans displayed on apartheid. 1950 was just 2 years after apartheid. So it took us from 1910 to 1950 to actually act out and push back against white supremacy. Now, what had happened in 1950? There was a class within the African National Congress that disassociated themselves and broke out. It was the first breakout out of the initial Black Party, and they called themselves the Pan-African Congress. It was led by a very honorable man, my icon, Robert Mangaliso Sobukwe, right? It was the first break, and now the ideals of the Pan-African National Congress, the Pan-African Congress, were very clear. Black men, black land, black face. The African National Congress, which is in power today and was the party of Nelson Mandela, had always maintained non-racialism. South Africa belongs to all who live in it, which is the nonsense that we're still trying to fix to date. Yeah, those two cardinal pillars were very it was the breaking point. You understand? And unfortunately, the masses, because black people are brainwashed, they believe in they believe in white savior complex. We opted for the African National Congress, and Nelson Mandela became the president. The guy that I'm talking about in 1950, Robert Sobukwe, we don't even know his voice, bro. The apartheid government created a clause, a law specifically for him. They detained him, and he spent a lot of time in jail. After that, they house arrested him for nothing. For nothing. And he died in his house.
Yes, sir. I know who Sobukwe is, and the problem is, the issue that I have is the Sobukwe ultimately lost, and I think that, and the reason why I say that is, as you say, the people of South Africa wanted a multiracial society because the issue is it goes a little, for me, it may go a little bit bigger than just one black man, one vote. And the reason why I say that is, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, the white South African people have been living alongside the black people for a very long time. Okay? Well, you could correct me. Not only them, you had a large Indian community. The Indian community lived alongside the black community within South Africa as well. So it would be very difficult to sever that relationship. You know, I don't know if you agree with that or not. Maybe that's why so many black South Africans decided to go the whole multiracial way with the ANC instead of going the Sobukwe way, because they saw well, you know, I'm thinking that may have been what has happened, but you could correct me on that if I'm wrong. You know?
Yeah, that's inaccurate, brother. So my opinion of why we chose the multiracial way is because, as I was telling Kofi earlier, that white people have done a very amazing job at conditioning our minds to aspire to white acceptance. So even before 1910, before the country was established in 1910, there had already been that social thirst and desire to assimilate to whiteness. Now, they made it clear in 1910 that these are your areas. So we've never lived together. We've never. Even in the urban areas before segregation, we had our own, you know, our own locations. There was never, it only happened after Nelson Mandela. There was never a time where my neighbor could be a white person. No. They stayed that side, we stayed that side. You know, South African racism has always been clear, bro. So let's come back to the question of Julius. Why do I think Julius Malema? You're talking about funding. So Dr. Umar teaches us that there's no such thing as black liberation with non-black money. There's no such, it doesn't exist. It has never existed. We've seen the blueprint with Marcus Messiah Garvey. the only black man who had built a movement with black pennies and black money. No money from no white organization, none of that. And he was an actual threat to the CIA and the US government. Now, if we are going to say that, why not take, we still have black criminals. Why not take money from black criminals? You know what I mean? Why not take money from black?
So you're saying you rather take money from a black criminal than a white criminal? Because the white criminal at the end of the day,
because it's about racial.
is a white criminal.
It's about
his interests, or is going to be aligned with whiteness.
Exactly.
Okay, I got you.
Because at no point a white person would relinquish the privileges they get from a white systematic racist system. At no point. So
wait a minute, brother. Didn't white folks help the ANC when they had the revolutionary issues between Nelson Mandela? A lot of the training came from white communists.
Yeah, but is the money coming
even till date? I mean, Russians are still helping us. You know, we have a very mutual, beneficial relations with Russia. They respect us from what we see. You know, and you know, there's
so y'all don't see them as white.
Blood.
Y'all don't see them as white. Y'all don't see them as white.
No, we see them as white. We see them as white, but our relationship with Russia is a friendship that is based on mutual benefit and respect. Russia doesn't fund political parties. No.
Like in America.
Russia is sorry.
I said they don't fund political parties like they do in America.
So they train them to be guerrilla warriors. So that's fun. And you're not giving them money, but if you train them with arms and military weapons to undermine the so-called white society, you are training them and helping them politically. You would agree with that?
I mean, yeah, and look, brother, we paid them for that. We compensated them for that. Hence, I'm saying it's a mutually beneficial relationship. Even now, Vladimir, I don't know if you know this, but lately, I think it was 2 years back or something, Vladimir Putin was isolated from the international community, and he was legitimized by my government, which is another reason I think this whole genocide thing has come up, is because South Africa has been legitimizing Iran and Russia.
All of America.
South Africa, exactly. South Africa garnered a bunch of African leaders, and they went to Russia to say, look, man, we know you've been isolated, but we are with you. And Russia and America got very angry. So what is happening between us and Russia is not a relationship of a slave master and a slave. No. Which is what America wants to maintain between us and them. It's a clear relationship of a slave master and a slave. With Russia, it's a friend and a friend. You know what I mean? And it's mutually beneficial. We don't know where it's gonna take us in the next coming years, but from what we have seen, there's a very profound respect between two peoples, and
that's very interesting. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Can I say something? I have one.
Hold on, guys. Hold on. I know Brother Bakari just came. Why do you have? This is not the after show. There was still like two things I want to get through.
Last thing. Yeah, okay, go ahead, brother. Go ahead, man. Go ahead. I'll leave it alone. Yeah, because I can talk to the man all day. I have a question about three politicians I wanted to ask him about, and I would not say anything anymore. Kofi, I promise.
It's going to be real quick. You guys could.
Yeah, if you let that one and me talk, we'll talk for hours.
Yeah, because so let me just get through this, because it's not. I mean, the link was only for Kamu, but you guys are my brothers. You always got a home here, so I'm not gonna police you guys and let you guys come up and say something. But I really want to get through two things, and then if you guys want to discuss it or not,
no problem, bro. Go ahead, bro. No problem.
I just want to make mentioning of it. So like real quick, because this is, I mean, I'm learning a lot from you guys and the conversation that you are having. I just want to talk about this real quick. Not that. So basically, here you probably seen it. I had up for a while. It says an Afrikaner farming family trades South Africa for Alabama. You know, I was trying to read it real quick. But let me just read the caption. Everybody, what it says, everybody still doesn't believe that we're actually standing here. Errol Langton said in an interview about 40 hours after landing at Birmingham International Airport. So again, they're here and they're happy, right? And the only people that are that my whole thing with this is that FBA is not losing their shit over this, because remember, they hate immigrants, right? They hate immigrants. You know what I'm saying? They're happy that the Haitians may leave. They're happy that, you know, that the Afghans are going to go, and they're rounding up all the Mexicans and all the people from Latin America. They're happy about that. But for some reason, they're right in their backyard. This guy said he's in freaking Birmingham out of freaking Bama. And they got nothing to say. You know, so I find that to be very interesting. I'm looking at Twitter. There's no Twitter spaces being shut down. I even checked with Tariq Nasheed, and he very, very calm. Oh, there's no genocide going on. You're just a liar. No racist ad hominem attacks. No dehumanization of these white Afrikaners. That's why I'm saying that FBA is they're just white adjacent. They're just white adjacent. The same vitriol they have for people from Latin America and the Caribbean and Africa, they don't have that same vitriol. And finally, I kind of want to, I mean, you guys will let me know, because I want to talk a little about, you guys got your own thing going on here with the conversation that I do enjoy, but I guess this might be its own separate show. I want to talk about the compound that these white Afrikaners went in the middle of nowhere in South Africa that have their own community. I want to play like 2 minutes of the intro about that to like open it up. But again, it will be up to you guys, whoever wants to talk about it. But Bwana, I'll give it to you to finish asking the remaining questions, and then Brother Bakari, you could go.
Yeah, I appreciate that, brother. They're like the three politicians I'm curious about, who I always used to watch with the EFF. One of the politicians is Floyd Chivimbu. He decided to go to Jacob Zuma's party. I wanted to know what you thought about that. Then there's another guy. His name, they used to call him the People's Bay. The People's Bay. You know what I'm talking about? The People's Bay. You know, the young guy. Yeah, him. I'm curious about him. Yes, I'm curious about as far as what happened to him. And there's a last guy. He was a representative of the DA. He was a young black guy who was representing the DA. I don't see him anymore, like in politics. Yeah, I don't see him anymore. I'm wondering what happened to him. So I'm curious about those three guys. If you have the time or opportunity, you know, kind of brief me on what's going on in these guys, and why did Chivimbu decide to leave the EFF and go back to Zuma? They put Zuma in jail. They're responsible for putting Zuma in jail, and he goes back to his party. But go ahead, brother. I'm curious. Go ahead.
Wow, man, you seem to be well vested with my politics, man. Quite interesting. Let me start with the Uncle Tom. I'm not really interested talking about that guy because he was a tool of white supremacy, unashamedly. Musi Maiman, I think he's insignificant, and really I don't like talking about such characters. But to answer your question, he has started his own party, which is still aligned to white supremacy, because right after they fired him at the Democratic Alliance, there were reports that he was funded by white billionaires, his cars, his house, all of those things, and he came publicly and accepted and didn't deny any or refute any of those allegations. And quite frankly, he started another political party with white money. Unashamedly, he's a bunny hopper, married to a snow bunny, and he's not ashamed. I I don't want to talk about him. I don't like him. I don't like him. Now these three interesting brothers that you're talking about, man. Hey, it's quite interesting. Oh, so Mbuyiseni Ndlozi, the People's Bay. We grew up in the same neighborhood. Went to schools adjacent to each other, not too far. We speak the same language, and for me, bro, to be honest with you, man, I don't know, but I see you're a good brother, and I think you might be into the EFF. But hey, man, he's just a bourgeoisie. So the People's Bay is a PhD holder in political philosophy, and he parted ways with the economic freedom fighters
Wow,
because
wow.
when they had an elective conference where they were going to choose a new leader, and now there were rumors spreading around that people on the ground want him to be the next leader, and obviously the leader Julius Malema was somehow threatened by his popularity and stuff like that. So he started decampaigning him, and they told him not to come to the conference, and apparently they fabricated a whole narrative about him being a spy for the ruling political party and stuff like that. So he didn't make it. Right after that, he came publicly and accepted that indeed he was blocked from coming to the national conference, and he couldn't contest the leader. Julius Malema is still standing as the leader, and they parted ways. Now he's doing radio. He's a hustler. He's doing motivational speaking and all of that. Now, the very interesting guy who was called the brains of the EFF, Floyd Chivambu, went and formed alliance with the former president's newly formed political party, which is the official opposition in parliament as we speak now, the Umkhonto weSizwe. Floyd Chivambu is now a Secretary General of the Umkhonto weSizwe. And Umkhonto weSizwe, I don't know if you know this, brother, but was a military wing of the ANC during apartheid. So they used guerrilla tactics.
The Spirit of the Nation. Yeah, the Spirit of the Nation.
Yeah, Umkhonto weSizwe. Yeah. Now the former president is Peter. He didn't want to exit power. Now that he has done that, he wants to come back to power. Took that name and formed a party, and he's really gaining numbers from that. But if you know our history very well, you would know that for the former president to lose power, it was through Julius Malema and Floyd Chivambu, which is another talking point that brings me to the fact that they are a tool of white supremacy, because that guy at the time, he was doing a lot of he was passing a lot of revolutionary policies in parliament, things like free education. He was talking about black unity. He was talking about equal redistribution of wealth. I mean, his administration created a lot of black multimillionaires than anyone else's, administration. So for that, we also look at Julius Malema with a very shaky eye there to say that why would you be against a man who's trying to uplift a lot of Africans that you claim to be fighting for? So in as far as Floyd Chivambu is concerned, I think it was an opportunistic move because he saw he couldn't defeat Julius Malema, he himself, to become the leader of the economic freedom fighters. So it was all about ego and all of those things, and they maneuvered their strategies differently. So brothers have splitted ways and took different directions. But in as far as EFF is concerned, they are on a decline trajectory. They're on a decline trajectory.
He answered your question, Juana? Juana? Hey, Juana.
Good job. I didn't know the People's Bay left. Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? No.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, I didn't know the People's Bay left. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't know the People's Bay left the EFF. I'm very surprised about that. As far as Shavimbu, you brought a little bit more clarity to understand exactly what happened, because the fact that he went back to Jacob Zuma, I was confused about that. I'm like, why would you eat your own vomit like that? Why would you go back and eat your own vomit? But the fact that he was actually passing progressive bills, the brother was stating, I understand why, but I just didn't get the thinking of him going back to Jacob Zuma. So thank you for the clarity. As far as the DA guy, Masumani, I always liked him. I always thought he was very articulate. He was doing it for the bag. Of course, he's doing it for the bag. But I thought he was very articulate. I thought he could have been a good political person. But ultimately, at the end of the day, he was a capitalist. So he was like a mercenary, a political mercenary. He was going where the money was. So and I kind of get that too. But I appreciate the brother's answers, and I'll just leave it to Brother Bakari to go. Thanks. What's your name again? What's your name? I'm sorry. What's your name again? What's your name again?
Kamu.
Thank you, Tamu, man. Kamu. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you very much.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, thank you for that. Brother Bakari, you're up.
Yeah, what's going on, everybody? I just wanted to say I wasn't gonna be on here long. I hear people talking about Russia, and I heard him say South Africa and Russia have a friendly relationship. And then Kofi, and I heard other people on the panel say the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Russia and America is not enemies. Show me something on the shelf that's made in South Africa over here in the United States. I can show you items that's made from Russia. They never stopped doing business together. I think that shows black people naivete, how naive and gullible we are, because we think Russia is an enemy of America without. I'm a gun enthusiast, right? I like guns. So the first thing I tell you, everybody on this panel, y'all heard of an AK-47, right?
Yep.
Do you know where the AK-47 is made?
Mostly during the old stockpile.
No, I say do you know where it is made? It's made in Russia.
Mostly it's going to be in America, probably.
No, that's a Russian. That's a Russian gun.
Wait, hold on. You mean like who invented the AK-47?
No, the AK-47 that you see in stores now. If it's not what America called theirs is an AK-47 style. They can't say it's an AK-47. When you hear young folks talking about they have a Draco, Russian.
Yeah.
It ain't nothing but like an AK pistol. The mini Draco, which ain't worth a damn, it's Russian. But there's other items that America do business with Russia with. We think we're untying our hands from one white man because we want to deal with other white people. We don't understand race relations. I think white people have a much better understanding of race relations than black people. And especially it hurts me when I hear black people from South Africa say everybody in the country should be okay to live there. Why? These people came and robbed and raped and destroyed. We are 88% of the population in South Africa. There should be none of those Afrikaners or Boers on the land in South Africa. Should be none. But since we're not, like I say, we're naive. We allow everybody, I call it extracting resources. Just like they do here in America. They extract resources. They come to our community in America, open up businesses, take all your money and put nothing back. Everybody want to act like they're friendly to an African nation so they can get resources. But to say it's friendly and it's an enemy of an enemy, look and see America and Russia relations. If they were such enemies, they would not be doing business. What there was last year, America had like $20 billion, $30 billion of Russian imports. Something to that effect. They are not enemies.
Now, Brother Bukhari, when I said, and I'll let Kama respond to your comment after that. When I say the enemy of your enemy is your friend, what I mean that I'm not meaning as far as like America doesn't trade and barter. What makes Russia and United States adversaries, that one is a democracy, the other is a communist society. Second is what make them adversaries is that they're two nuclear powers. So, and as well as Europe does business with Russia too. Like I heard when Russia was invading this former Soviet Union states, that Russia was giving them gas, right?
And
Russia was giving gas. So people do business with Russia, but the problem with Russia is that they're not
now
a
watch this,
part of
Kofi. Now
I'm
watch
sorry.
this, Kofi. Watch this. Watch this. Now, how many of those countries you just named allow African-made arms? Since I like guns, I'm from Black African nations. How many of those countries allow Black African guns into their country?
Most
How
from
many
what
of
I
those?
know,
None.
go ahead,
Africa
Kama.
doesn't
Go
I'm
ahead.
a,
produce guns. So look, brother, here let's not conflict issues. There's
I'm not. I was.
politics. Yeah, okay. Let me clarify. There's politics, political ideology. There's economics, which is trade. Now there are concessions. There are international trade concessions that you wouldn't touch despite political disagreements or non-alignment. For an example, Zimbabwe was sanctioned by America has been sanctioned by America for more than 20 years. But there's Twitter, there's KFC, there's American companies doing business in Zimbabwe, despite them being sanctioned by America. The same thing happening in Russia. There's no McDonald's now as we speak. All of those franchises, they have been converted into Russian outlets. There's no KFC in Russia as we speak today. All of those franchises, they've been converted, but some of the trade deals still stand because of international trade law. Hence, I'm saying we shouldn't conflict issues. Politically speaking, America and Russia are enemies. Same applies to China and America. They are enemies. But
Correct.
when it comes to trade, they do trade
They're
with each other.
friends. Yeah.
Even
So
China
what?
trade
So here.
with
So let,
America.
so let me ask a question then. And I understand you say trade.
Yes, sir.
You can talk about all the
Yes, sir.
American businesses that's in an African nation. So I'm just gonna ask the same question again. Name a Black African nation that have anything that they make in Russia, means in America or Europe. In
So,
dealing with those European nations, show me
yes,
something
sir.
from South Africa in America. I can show you can see stuff from
Right.
Russia in
So
America.
let
Because you
me talk
say,
about South Africa. Let me talk about South Africa. So my country is building an oil company, an oil firm. I think in Louisiana. It's called Sasol. You can Google it now. It's $1 billion worth of investment. We are building that as we speak now. We are building that. We have your Levi jeans are being manufactured in a country within my country. It's called Lesotho. Levi jeans are being manufactured in Lesotho as a Lesotho product, but they are being shipped to America as a final product to go into stores and stuff like that. There's restaurant outlets like Nando's, like Kentucky Chicken Licken. There's clothing outlets like Makosa and Batu. You can find them in American stores. There's grocery products like man, it's a lot. So I can give you a one conglomerate. It's called what's this guy? Remgro. The Remgro group comprises of a lot of grocery products that you can find in American shelves as we speak now. So there's a lot of trade going on, but that could only be between South Africa and America. I'm not particularly sure with the rest of the continent, but I assume with Kenya, fintech companies in Kenya is the same. I assume with Nigerian cement and oil companies, Ghanaian companies, I assume it's the same. I'm not particularly sure, but I assume it's the same.
Well, I can tell you, I work. That's what I do. I work at an oil company and I deliver. Now, what you say the name of that is from South Africa in Louisiana? Because that's what I do. But my
Sasol is SASOL.
okay, I'm gonna see who that is, right?
Yeah, please check
That's
it
what I
out,
do.
brother. Please check it out.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
That's what I do. I work at an oil company. So, but my point is, right? If you think Russia is an ally, me personally, I don't trust Russia. That's me.
I don't either. I don't.
I think white people always get the bigger end of the stick, right? Russia allegedly sent their military to Burkina Faso to protect them, but but one of their military base was attacked and 200 Burkina Faso soldiers were killed. I won't say it was Russia. I won't say it was. I won't say it wasn't. Who had something to do with it? Because I see people. I understand how dealing with those people. I know back in the day, and this was a long time ago, when South Africa wanted to raise up and get the Afrikaners off their back. I know Russia sent soldiers to South Africa to fight with the Afrikaners. If we study the history, if we study I'm not enamored. You can say but you can look it up. But I'm not enamored with Black people in 2025 still depending on white people to protect them, still depending on white people to say we can make a deal, but we can look right across the border and see Black people like us, and we can't figure out a way to say this is what we need to do together. We need to be allies with Nigeria, which will be extremely hard and that's my biggest take from all of the Black people, not just in Africa. You find Black people here in the United States loving Russia. And I just see, for me, I just see white people looking to see if they can take advantage of Black people because we're not in a position to take care of ourselves. We haven't built the military. We haven't done any of that. So, but I know that ain't what this is about. So I'm gonna say this, then I'm gonna stop talking and I'm gonna listen offline. But now I'm gonna talk about the Afrikaners because this is South Africa too. And everybody keep talking about the Afrikaners that just came here. What, that was a week ago, right?
Yes,
and I heard people saying the first group of Afrikaners Trump brought here looked like nothing. I'm gonna tell y'all this again. I done told y'all 100 times. I told y'all folks told people during the election, during the campaign. Trump bought Afrikaners here in 2017, gave them land in Mississippi, gave them jobs, paying them a minimum of $6 an hour more than Black people. The administration that came in after Trump deported Afrikaners, gave Black people, that group of Black people, right at $2 million worth of back pay, took land and gave land to Black farmers in Mississippi. So they'll have some of those Afrikaners, because some of them was able to stay down there in my hometown where I'm from, Greenville, Mississippi, where Trump gave those people land and houses, and they didn't have to pay for nothing. This was not, I want y'all to understand, this was not the first group of Afrikaners that the lunatic in office brought to the United States. And I told everybody this time it's going to be Alabama, it's going to be Georgia, it's going to be North Carolina, it's going to be South Carolina, it's going to be Texas, because they're going to give them land. They're going to go somewhere with land, farmland, and people are going to realize the reason he was attacking Latinos, he's bringing a group of people here that will work in the fields. Black people don't work in the fields in Mississippi no more. Won't drive a tractor, don't do nothing. That's all white people. People that the lunatic in office brought here back in 2017.
I think that's very true. But it wasn't as so in 2017, my girlfriend and I, there's there's an American government program. So they were not as blunt as he is now, right? It's a program that allows non-Americans to come to America and basically acquire American citizenship. My girlfriend and I applied for that, and so you apply this year, you get your results next year. So as the results come out, we went to the website and looked at the thing there. And when we were scrolling through the results, we weren't the only black people who applied. But when you look at the people that have been accepted in the system, it was only white people. And we knew from then that there's definitely an
that's not
agenda.
happening.
Yeah, it was way back, 2017, bro. You know?
They are in Greenville, Mississippi right now. They are in Greenville. Some of them is in Greenville, Mississippi right now.
Yeah, I just read an article
So
where
now
some
he's
of them
doing
they're in Alabama.
Man, it's crazy. So now he's doing it with no shame, none whatsoever, and building up this narrative as well to vilify and convince everyone else that South Africa is evil and committing genocide and stuff like that. Also to hide the spotlight of what they're doing to Palestinians, which is something that South African government has taken action against, which is the only nation on the planet that has taken Israel to
the
international criminal courts.
Yep. Yeah.
Exactly.
So,
And I, bro, I'm scared. I'm really not scared. I'm concerned about my president going to Washington tomorrow, that they're gonna convince him to drop that case. I'm really concerned about it.
I mean, it is, but it depends how strong and resilient your president is. He has to at least have some resilience, like Zelensky, because they try to make Zelensky look bad and everything, and he still stayed on his square. So you're just gonna have to hope something like that happens. So let me play this video real quick. I'm not gonna play all of it. It's like an hour. It's its own show, but I want to play like 2-3 minutes of it. And Kamu, you can let me know if you know anybody or anyone or anything about this compound.
Culture, language, and way of life in a rapid.
Wow. Guys, we are in the countryside of South Africa. And actually, we're almost in the middle of the country.
In the desert-like Karoo region of the Northern Cape province, nestled along the tranquil banks of the Orange River, lies Oranje. Founded in 1991, the settlement was born from a vision to create a haven for Afrikaners, a community seeking to preserve their culture, language, and way of life in a rapidly changing nation. When a group of Afrikaners purchased this land, it was a barren ghost town. No economy, no infrastructure, just desert. But with grit and vision, they turned it around, laying water pipes, planting trees, and transforming it into a vibrant agricultural hub. Today, it's a self-sufficient community with its own schools, businesses, and even currency. But the town continued to spark debates on culture, identity, and what it means to live in modern-day South Africa. So let's dive into Oranje and see what makes this place so unique.
Guys, we are in Oranje. And meet, this is Joost. Joost, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Joost Strijdom.
Yeah, I don't care about his ass. Again, this is its own show and everything, but Kamu, what do you know about this place? And you guys need to look at it. They have their own money, their own currency. They did build everything from scratch. Before I let you go, Kamu, when we were on the To Be Fair show, shout out to Q and A Black, during the after show, which is fucking insane. You would know that they'll try to pit me and Kamu against each other. They'll say, "Hey, what do you think Kamu has to do to fix his country?" Because these FBA goons don't got nothing going on for them politically or economically. but they always trying to tell other people that got shit going on what they need to do. So I told them, I'm like, nah, I like what Kamu was doing. Kamu is making it so hard for these boys that they take their white pink ass out in the desert to build their own community. I don't know any black people, especially in America, that's making white people want to move and go live somewhere where black people got their own. You know what I'm saying? So I find this to be very, very interesting. So what do you have to say about that town? Do you know people from that town? How does that work out there?
Yeah. So, hey man, hey, this is a very touchy subject. That town. So there's two of them apparently. There's another one. So, it's not a sovereign town, none whatsoever. It's a South African town that gets funding from government like the rest of us. We have municipal budgets. They get their
Oh, wait.
budget.
So hold on. I didn't know that. I thought, wait. So what government is funding them? I know they get donations and some people,
Nah.
quote unquote shadowy people that donate to them.
That's very minimal. That's very minimal to what they would have never achieved whatever they have achieved. So they get government funding from the African National Congress, which is the government in power, the government of Nelson Mandela. So we had
wow.
So Nelson Mandela allegedly came out of jail in 1990, right? So we had our first elections in 1994. From 1990 to 1994, it was a very tense period in our country. And there was this series of conference and dialogue that took place. We called it CODESA. It was a conference of, democratic South Africa, the so-called new dispensation. One of the compromises that were made in that conference, it was this: we're going to allow you to build your own exclusive town and no one will bother you. They get municipal funding like the rest of us. They get government auditing and they go about their business. But
so
now
let me ask a question. If they're getting government funding, they can't really say it's a only whites town. They can make their own rules and regulations, but let me know what's going on with South Africa. Like, if I'm getting government funding, you can't tell me as a South African you can't come here.
Yeah.
So do I have that right or do I have that wrong? Because according to them, you can only live there if you're white.
100%. That's where the bone of contention is. So we have guys like the economic freedom fighters of Julius Malema. They've been going there over the past 3 years. They've been going there, reminding them that we are coming. Just reminding them that we are coming.
We coming.
And yeah. And people now use that town as a tourist destination. Just go there, and it's a spooky town. We use it like that. But the economic freedom fighters has been consistent that no, we are coming. We are coming. We are going to build our settlements here, and we are going to make sure that the municipal budgets and projects include the settlement of other races, which is obviously predominantly black. So there has been a deliberate attempt to remind them that this nonsense will never go on. We are coming, and we are going to settle there.
Yeah, because
no white man can build a settlement in Africa and not be bothered by the native people. That will never happen.
But I did, because I didn't know. I thought they got whatever they got their money, right? If they're out in the town somewhere and they say it's only white people, then okay, you're still a part of the country, South Africa, and that will be, unconstitutional or against the rules and laws of South Africa. But I get it. But it's even worse if you're being funded by the government. You can't make those rules. I can't go somewhere buy some land in America and say, well, I don't want no, they're going to get triggered. I want no freaking FBAs. You know what I'm saying? I can't do that. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm going against the law of the land. If I have a place in the area, I cannot discriminate against other people. So I didn't even know that the government was supporting them. So that's like crazy to me.
Yeah.
So we go ahead.
This is nothing, bro. So we have at the tip of our country, we have a state. You guys call them states in America, call them provinces. We have a province, the Western Cape. Cape Town is the major town there. It's the major city. There's been a bunch of racists lately who are pushing for a segregation. They want to declare that as a country. Now they are backed by America, they are backed by Israel, they are backed by Rwanda, which is really a shame. Funded by the UK, you know, they are trying to cut our country and form a white-only state, proper state, not a town.
Okay.
So this is nothing. Yeah, they're trying to form a proper state, and you know, it's very interesting. I was telling my fellow Pan-Africanists that we need to go to that part of the country and buy houses there.
Kamo,
Sure.
have you ever heard the saying, if you give a man an inch, they'll take a mile? Have you ever heard that in your part of the world?
Yes, very familiar. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm sorry, Kofu, for cutting in. What the boys are doing to the South African black folks is they're gonna kill you all in inches. They're killing you all in inches. So this
100%.
enclave what the government is, you say it's important. This is why I came back, because I never thought this was possible. The taxpayers, the black taxpayers, the Indian taxpayers are funding their own apartheid.
Yep.
What are you talking about? How are you all letting Maposa get away with this? How are you all letting them get away with this?
Well,
I'm curious. I'm curious, brother.
And you know, you had asked me a question about Ramaphosa. I didn't answer you. So you said, yo, what was your initial question about Ramaphosa?
What did I say? Whatever, I can't remember.
You asked me a question like I think you're comparing him with. You were like, why are you letting Ramaphosa off the hook? Something like that.
Yeah, because he supported the LGBT thing. You know.
So the issue about Ramaphosa is this. Ramaphosa is the same guy who wrote the Constitution, right? When these negotiations were happening, the CODESA from 1990 to 1994, he was at the forefront of leading the conversations and reaching concessions with white people. So when he was becoming president in 2019, we had little expectation. Like, we knew that guy was compromised. We had little expectation to none whatsoever, because at the time we knew. I mean, he became a president. He was a billionaire by that time. You know, how can you become a billionaire without inventing anything? Where did you get that money? You know, so our expectations with that guy were very low. We already knew that we were fucked. But now here comes the twist, and the plot twist is when he started giving us the land. Is when he started giving us free education. You know, and we're like, oh, really? Is that the same guy that sold us, giving us the land? Nah, man, we never thought this guy would do this for us. You know what I mean? So our expectations from that guy were very low, but he somehow outdone himself. You know,
the boys in South Africa, y'all must get this. Y'all must get this. And see, Mugabe was right. He was right. The boys don't believe in sharing. They don't believe in
Nah,
sharing, brother.
Nope.
they
Eventually,
don't.
they're gonna take it all back. They want it to go back to where it was, and if they kill you all in inches to
Exactly.
do it, they will. So the Black
Yeah.
South Africans has to decide. They have to decide: are we gonna go to where the Rainbow Nation? Because when you talk that Rainbow Nation nonsense, you have to ask
Yeah.
yourself, who's gonna run the Rainbow Nation? Because the DA and the
Exactly.
boys have decided if we're gonna play pretend, we want to
Yep.
run this Rainbow Nation. We want to
Yep.
create all the rules. So this whole thing of civility that you're all trying to practice in South Africa,
It's never gonna
ultimately
work, bro.
you're gonna have to end up like Mugabe. Because if y'all don't decide to say we're gonna take a stand, either you decide to live under our rules or you leave. There is no sharing. This is our land. Y'all have to decide that
Exactly.
because they're gonna kill you all in inches, brother. I'm telling you. I see it happening.
Facts, bro.
I'm just watching this shit.
I hear
I'm
you.
watching this shit.
You know, you know,
You know?
that's very true. What they're gonna do? What's happening to Palestine, bro? They're gonna do exactly what's happening to Palestine. So look, man. I even take the blame for it. Like our aggression has been very mild, you know. But I see now with the rise of Ibrahim Traore and all of those things, we are kind of like getting momentum. Now the Orania, bro, does not know peace anymore. Every now and then, government portfolio committees working on Orania, people are going to visit there. You know what I mean? Even brothers and sisters from the continent, they come all the way from Ghana and go to Orania and ask questions, and they make them feel uncomfortable, bro. So
Good. That's
so
good.
the
That's good.
momentum is
They, they,
there,
they
but
must go.
is it yeah. Is it at the pace that we want? Absolutely not. But it's the momentum is building, and
One, one,
ultimately,
one
bro,
last. Yeah.
yeah.
No, no, no. Go ahead. I don't want to interrupt you. Go ahead. Because I have one last question for you.
Yeah,
Go ahead, brother.
ultimately we'll get to a position where we'll make them know that this can continue. It's either you do things our way or you fuck off. You know what I mean? And also with this genocide thing, I see a lot of black people now are kind of realizing, man, black people love white folks, bro. I don't want to lie. But with this
Yeah, it's
genocide thing, black people kind of see them. Yeah. We kind of, a lot of people are kind of waking up to say, nah, man, these people really hate us. Really hate
yeah,
us.
yes. I think that
Yeah,
I think that you're. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
yeah. There's a government minister, a government minister. She's a minister of presidency. She has opened a case against a Afrikaner lobby group that came up with this genocide nonsense. Now, government resources are being channeled into making sure that these people are being persecuted and they're gonna be labeled as a terrorist group, which it has never happened. We've never seen government take a stance against a white-only um, lobby group or whatever organization. And those people built a university in our capital, Pretoria. They built, an Africans-only university. Even that university, bro, we've been visiting it. It opened last year. They have not known peace. We visit now and then, bro. We visit now and
So
then,
so
and
who is you saying there's parts of the current government right now in South Africa that's enabling all these separatist
yeah,
neo apartheid things that's happening
yeah.
because wow. So yeah,
They're
again,
right.
it goes back down to the people. The people, you know what I'm
And it
saying?
takes
Like,
me no, coffee. It takes me back to that thing I spoke about where Bwana said initially Sobukwe lost because we opted for multiracialism.
like
We
I
opted
get
for
that, but
Nelson
I
Mandela.
don't get that. Now, this is the difficult scale, and Juana, I think he's saying it, but I'm not sure if we're really listening to what he's saying. So South Africa has three groups. You have the indigenous blacks like you have the Afrikaners, and you have a huge Indian population, right? So nationally speaking, yes, they're all South African, right? So if you're running a government, you have to recognize all these people as South Africans, but at the same time, you have to recognize that indigenous South African people should have presidents before any and everybody else. That's the problem.
Yes, sir.
So when you got these white Afrikaners saying, well, I'm South African too, yes, bitch, but you're going to take a turn at the back. And I think that's the problem. Like, you have some people like, I know you got to do that diplomatic balancing act, but at the same time, right is right and wrong is wrong. And I think that's the problem. If you give them, like Wanda said, if you give them an inch, they're going to take a mile. Like, okay, you want the farm too? Okay, fine, I get that. But again, you got to go at the back of the line. I'll give you some land. But when they're not even waiting for the United States government to give them land. So another question is that I have for you: did they need did the United States, did the South African government give them permission, or did they go out on their own to develop that land? Because you just can't take land in America because somebody owns it.
No. They they claim to have bought the land, but that's not really what had happened. So even this thing I'm talking about, bro, it's very classified, high government classified information. So we have been, since this current administration, there has been a huge rhetoric and demand for the minutes. The minutes. People want to see the minutes of CODESA, that meeting we had before we went to elections from 1990 to 1994. People want the minutes to read as to what we had agreed on and the concessions that we have made with white people. The information that I'm giving you now, that Nelson Mandela agreed to them having this sort of isolated town, it's somehow information that we got from people who were within the government and they are now out. But I haven't read it from the official government, you know what I mean? So there has been an outrage, public outrage, people demanding that we want to see the minutes of CODESA and they should be publicly published so that we can read and make assessment of it.
And
so
another thing,
it's really some fucked up shit, bro.
No, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah. No.
One last question. One last question I have for you, brother. The white supremacists right now have recruited Elon Musk's dad. Okay, and they've recruited him because he liked to tell a story about how he murdered 3 black South African people who was trying to harm him, black men, right? So they have him on these big platforms now, like Vlad TV and many other platforms, to regurgitate that story. And I'm saying that the black South Africans need to tell a different kind of version of who Elon Musk's dad is. Because for me, he reminded me of, there was a white guy in South Africa who recently, I think one of his workers murdered him. His name was, he was trying to create like a different space for white folks. I don't know if you remember who he was murdered by one of his workers. Do you know me? You know what I'm talking about? I forget his name now. He was a popular white supremacist guy who got murdered by one of his workers.
Oh, you're talking about Eugene Terra Blanche. Yeah.
Yes, Blanche. Yes.
That was ruthless, bro. It was ruthless.
Yes. So he is for me. He is a version of Terra Blanche, but they parade him around like some white supremacist hero. Yeah, like a hero right now, because they don't know because the Westerners, people in the West, don't know context. They don't understand backstories. Okay, so I'm saying that there should be another version of who these people are, because people don't know who the boys are, especially in the West, man. We lack context in the West. Unless you do a whole lot of research and reading, they don't know. They just see these people as some innocent white folks who are being taken advantage of.
And I think that hardly anything calls innocent white folks. Like, I don't mean to be racist or do absolutes, but there's a lot of cases innocent and white people don't go together.
Okay, but what I mean by that, Kofi, is most white folks in the West, they believe their president. They believe what their leaders say.
Yeah.
So when Trump gets on a platform and say that these guys are being genocided, they believe that version of facts. So I'm asking, what is the South African government doing to counteract that narrative in terms of there being genocided in South Africa?
I think
What is the
Kamu did mention
Ramaphosa?
something like that. You say someone, a part of your government, is doing something against that Sunni United States government or for false information. You said
Yeah,
some type of South African
yeah.
think tank that started that narrative.
There is treasonous charges. There is treasonous charges going on, and my president tomorrow will be in America. Will be in the Washington D.C. The Hill tomorrow.
Yeah, you're right. DC.
But yeah, but I don't think that would bear any good results for us. I don't think. I just think he's going there to kiss ass, bro. I don't want to lie. Yeah,
One
I
of
just think he's going
one
there.
of the major things in South Africa for me personally, Kamu, is this land question. It's the land question in Zimbabwe. It's the same land question. How is it that a minority of people own so much commercial land space in South Africa? That must be rectified. I'm sorry, you can't get around it.
Look,
Ramaphosa can't tap dance.
Bwana, this whole allegations and false narrative of genocide, it started after Cyril Ramaphosa passed a land act. So we are taking the land, brother. There is a policy that is, we call it expropriation of land without compensation. That's when this whole genocide.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
Bravo.
Yeah, and I say, bro, we had little expectation. We didn't believe, bro. When we saw that policy, we were like, this guy really? We knew he was a sellout, But when we saw this policy, bro, we couldn't believe our eyes. And right after that, this nonsense narrative started to build up, and stuff like that. I mean, Donald Trump started by saying bad things are happening in South Africa. Government is really doing horrible things to some population. That was his first statement about what's happening. He never said genocide. He said South African government is doing very bad things to specific groups of people in South Africa. And now it built from there. It started gaining momentum. And now he's saying it, outwardly. Yeah, they're doing genocide. And it's like, So hence I'm saying...
I'm going to leave you. Go ahead,
hence I'm saying I don't believe that his visit to Washington will bear any good fit. I just think he's going there to kiss ass, bro. Because they know, bro. We not. There's no genocide going on. Americans know that.
No, they don't. No, I see.
Some of them believe it. Some of them want that misinformation to go on, but some of them do believe it. I don't think all of them believe it.
Kamu. I've been on this internet for a while, right? And in my observations, what I believed about the West and the information that is given, that now I'm being disabused of that belief, because what Americans know is not, they know what's happening within their country, brother. Outside of the country, they are very unfamiliar with. And I'm not trying to be mean and nasty and negative, but in having conversations, I've recognized that in terms on the international arena, many Americans are very unaware of what goes on, and even in terms of what their government is doing around the world, they're very unfamiliar with it. So so when you say the Americans know, that's just not true. But but I want to invite you to the Bitter Medicine podcast. I don't know if Kofi has done so already.
Yeah,
I know you already have a family home in going to the Be Fair show, but I think that to diversify the conversation up a bit, because I'm not from America. I'm from the Caribbean. So I think that, if you want to be able to have a different kind of conversation, come to the Bitter Medicine podcast and maybe have a groundings with your brothers from other parts of the world, and we could formulate our own Pan-African thing there. No, I'm not telling you not to go to the other space. I'm inviting you to come to another space. So if you have time, I'll let Kofi permit you to do that. But I'm out, guys. I'm gonna see y'all guys later. Yes,
right.
Peace.
Yeah, Bwana, why you leaving, man? You don't like talking to me no more, Bwana.
No, I already offered Kamu that invitation because his knowledge that he has, he's a Pan-African, and he would fit in perfect on that panel. Let me read this real quick, and I'm gonna give it to you, Brother Bakari. So on Kwame Ma'at Ra, he said, why would FBA be outraged, or white people coming to America when they have FBA? When FBA fought white people in America, like, you know, that's true. He said FBA. Well, that did I already? Yeah, I think I did already. Yeah, he says FBA aren't outraged. Jews got billions annually. They're more outraged black immigrants getting jobs or buying or buying home. A minority of a minority. Yeah. Go ahead, Brother Bakari. And one thing I would like to say before you go, Brother Bakari, I still this image right over here, because when you look at this documentary about this white-owned town, these young white boys, they're training these young white boys also with a very militaristic mindset to defend their town, because again, it's a town, they got their own police and everything. So again, talking to FBA, what town do you guys have that's all black, run by all black people, to protect all black people? You know what I'm saying? I'm not talking about a farm here, 2-3 black businesses here. As a community, we don't have a community. We're all like, what's to say? We're all outnumbered, but we're out organized. If we were more organized, we'll be on footing with most black nations. But America, see, the thing about America has the money. Black Americans have the money. Black Americans have the talent. It's the unity is the problem. But go ahead, Brother Bakari.
Well, first I'm gonna start with saying, when you talked about what black town, FBA don't know. You notice when black people talk about black towns, they always talk about what happened a long time ago and how people tore it up, right?
Rosewood, Tulsa.
Yeah. But you notice how many people, other than me, who have you heard talk about Mountain Bayou, Mississippi?
Nobody.
It is still there. Still ain't nobody ever lived there but black people.
So it's a matter. So you are right. I'm glad you mentioned that. There are still a lot of black towns, right, that's still in existence. No one, like, I remember, and I know it was a black town. I was living in Virginia, and I was driving on the countryside of Virginia going to North Carolina. There was a town called Emporia, because when I stopped, all I saw was black people. You know what I'm saying? No one wants to invest in these towns. Those towns exist, but those aren't towns that are thriving. Again, like Tulsa. Tulsa was bombed, but Tulsa is still in existence, right? We need like some type of re-emergence, or like black people just need to get on one page. No matter where you go in the United States, we can make it happen. It's just not, if these white cracker ass boys could make it happen in the middle of in South Africa over there, we could do it in America with infrastructure. But go ahead, Brother Bakari.
Yeah, and here's the other thing. See, what folks don't understand, what you seeing right there in South Africa is happening here with the white folks from the United States, but it's about to happen with South Africans here. Have y'all heard of Star City?
That sounds familiar.
Okay, Star City is the city that Texas just told Elon Musk he can build his own city in Texas and gonna call it Star City. Who you think they're gonna put there? All them white Christian nationalists.
And Indian and the Indian B1 visa Indians. Maybe.
And they're gonna continue. They're gonna continue to do it. See, black people is concerned about saying they can get a check so they can live next to white folks. They're concerned about getting a check, say they pro-black, like the guy that started FBA. I don't even like to say his name. I have no respect for him. And then go move out around white people.
Yep, and proud of it.
That's our goal as a group, as a whole, as African Americans. See, I tell people I'm not a black American. I'm not a black American. Like, don't call me a black American. I'm African American. Because when you get rid of your Africanness, when you get rid of who you are just to say you're black, you don't know who you are no more.
Yep.
That's why all of this foolishness, the Aboriginal Indigenous, the Aborigine, the ADOS, FBA, the freedmen, and all that, That's why we get stuck on slave name, but all this foolishness can permeate throughout social media because we have been taught to be ashamed of who we are. See, we have unity. Like, I'm gonna go buy some more bullets, right? For my guns. I'm going right now. I'm on my way to get some bullets.
Yes, sir.
A friend of
Well,
mine, an Afro.
Brother McCar, you don't have to mention it. How you ran out?
Oh, I didn't run out. I ain't gonna ever run out.
No. I mean, did you use it at the shooting range? No, you don't gotta answer that.
yeah. I go shoot at the shooting range. I go to my homeboy, shoot out in the woods at his house. But I had an Afro Panamanian come on my panel one time. Okay, I'm gonna start that little sentence over. The reason black people, one of the biggest reasons black people always said they're gonna be nonviolent. People don't know. White people wouldn't sell black people, a lot of black people guns in the 60s and the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
The ones that had guns, they were lucky if they were able to get 10 bullets. Right? But today they will sell them to you. But instead of going to them all the time for everything, I had one of my Afro Panamanian friends come on the panel one time. She came on. We were trying to raise money to get the machine to make bullets. We couldn't raise $5. We couldn't raise $5. So because the goal was, if we get the machine to make the bullets, then we buy bullets from ourselves.
Yeah.
That's at least one thing we can stop going to them for.
Wait a minute. So you could get a machine yourself that makes bullets. You said just like take the old shells and just remake the bullets.
Yeah, a lot of the bullets that's sold in the store is not brand new bullets.
Okay. It's just the re-shells. You got the gunpowder and just take the old shells.
Yeah.
So wait, how much, I'm gonna start this. How much is for the machine?
The machine that we were looking for was the one we were looking at was $5,000.
Okay.
It was $5,000. But of course, we wanted to eventually get to where we could make a man.
Bro,
You
that's
understand
a
what I'm
business.
saying?
You get that popping, you could distribute bullets, man. Like that's a business.
And the goal was to sell to ourselves. We couldn't raise $5, but somebody can make millions of dollars off a fake museum. That's where we are.
While
See,
fighting white supremacy.
Yeah, we're not concerned about fighting. And I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna do a live and call "It's Okay to Be Afraid." I understand people are afraid. That's why they talk about the history so much. Everybody is afraid. Everybody have a fear, a little fear, right? But that fear of being afraid.
About that. Is it okay to be afraid? Is FBA scared of white supremacy? I'm saying it's okay to be afraid. Being afraid don't make you less of a man. You know what I'm saying? In my view, at least you're honest.
No, the things that look, man. May 14th, 1970, Jackson, Mississippi. The state troopers and the National Guard pulled up on Jackson State University campus and shot 500 rounds in 28 seconds, bro. So we know why you scared. I understand it. Yes, we know why you scared. The same reason we didn't see people think I'm just talking, Kofi. When me and you was talking during that, you notice they only talked about the Democratic Party. You know why?
Yep.
People heard when Donald Trump said, if we don't win this election, it's going to be a bloodbath. They heard the governor of West Virginia, if they lose, they're gonna go crazy. And we like to say, well, that ain't why people didn't vote. Voter intimidation.
Nah, they said that's fear mongering, brother McCoy. Remember that? They said, "Oh, you fear mongering."
I'm fear mongering, but they said it. I'm fear mongering, but the other side is the ones who said it. Matter of fact, I didn't even repeat them. I just let them play it.
Yep.
Voter intimidation been going on forever. And until sometimes you're gonna just have to admit you're afraid so you can face the fear.
I mean, I did a show about that. I'm like, isn't centrists or people on the right or black people that don't want to vote for Kamala Harris, like, are you scared? Is this fear? You know what I'm saying? I don't like doing this whole divisive thing. I'm an American. I'm from the North. All I can know how I am when I go down there, how I feel. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know how they feel when they're from there like that, but I'm like with, I ain't gonna say who, but some people that I talk to from the South, they have this very passive way of when we tell them, Brother Bakari, hey, look, Donald Trump said he wants to legalize stop and frisk. Donald Trump saying that he's eating cats and dogs. He's going to take away citizenship from people. Oh, you're fear mongering. I'm like, why are you so passive when it comes to white supremacy? And I don't understand it. I don't understand it. And you're supposed to be pro-black. Okay, you're not a Pan-African. I get it. You're just American. Get it. But you're a quote-unquote black American. Why aren't you mad at that? That's a direct threat to you. Oh, you're fear-mongering. You're being hyperbolic. I'm like, what the hell is going on?
And there's no hyperbole in what you said at all because you didn't say it. They made the statement. So my point is, right, so like this. So before I go up, I'm going to say this, right? When I talked about those people shooting those 500 bullets, the sheriff was called, oh my God, they called him. Remember the Goon Squad in Jackson, Mississippi? A few years back that just went to prison? They got the name from the sheriff who was in charge then. They called him Goon. I got the article. I can't pull it up while I'm on here. But watch this. When folks step up to their fear, the same Goon that pulled those people up, the same and they did that, the same Goon that bragged on how he had killed N-words. Guess how he died? One black man got sick of his bull crap, beat his ass, took his gun and shot him in the head and didn't go to jail.
Oh, really?
And did not go to jail.
Well, he was found innocent?
Didn't go to jail.
Okay. Let's leave it at that.
Because eventually you get tired of it, bro.
Yeah.
You have to face that fear.
What we need. That's what we need.
And it's okay to be afraid. I ain't even mad at nobody for being afraid. Everybody have a little fear. Dude, I walk around with a gun on me everywhere I go. Loaded. I keep 3 magazines loaded in my truck everywhere I go. The one in my gun loaded, then I got 3 more loaded in my car.
I mean, you got to be ready. Now, let's say, imagine if every black man spoke like you, right? Especially what's going on in this day and age. Especially going on in this day and age. Instead of talking about red pill bullshit and all these black women and, you can't date these black women and passport bros and FBA. Oh, we ain't black. We ain't no African. We ain't no native. We natives and all this stuff. And we spoke about like what's happening in our communities. And we were doing things praising Carmelo Anthony internationally, praising Abraham Torrey, giving kudos to the father that just indiscriminately ran over a cop because a cop killed his son, right? If we had that type of energy 24/7 and most of the bullshit is not being paid attention to, we will have white people would fear us. I don't like people fearing us, but if you don't, that's the only thing they understand. They understand power. They understand power and money, but until black people get on board, I don't know. This is what it is, man. But it's probably late for Kamu because it probably got to be like 2 a.m. there for him. So, Brother Kamu, I don't know if you hear me. I'm about to close everything. I don't know if you got anything else to say, Brother Bakari.
No, man, that's it, man. I guess I'll see you later.
Yeah. You'll see me later, man. Hopefully, Koku will be on there. And remember, for those who's listening, Bitter Medicine podcast, it starts at 8:00 tonight. I try not to do shows on Saturday, so people can have their, energy and all their fighting, to go on there to have that. But due to our brother Kamu in South Africa and with this whole quote unquote White Afrikaner refugees bullshit, I kind of wanted to like get this story out, and just pretty much point out how FBA, they're not disturbed by it. No how. They're not opening any space, no YouTube, Twitter, saying these white people gonna Trump took taxpayer money to go pick them up, to bring them here, house them, all of that. And I thought these FBA MAG Republicans, my tax money, you don't contribute anything to society, and we throwing this money at these Latinos and these Africans getting free this and Caribbeans getting free that. White people getting free shit. Nothing. Nothing. And I'm like, wow, okay. There's no way they can tell me, they're not a xenophobic, anti-black hate group. There's no way they can say that. There's just no way. I just wanted to highlight that. They can't say it no more. Because I was waiting for the outrage. Okay, I'm waiting for, we need to get our reparations. They haven't talked about anything about reparations since the election. All they talk about, Kamala Harris said, I ain't gonna do anything for black people. No. Okay, what's Donald Trump gonna do? You've been blocking bullets with Donald Trump this whole time. Now what? What's going on? No more reparations talk.
You know what? I had that conversation with one of them the other day, and as he was talking, and we were talking about what's going on right now. And what he said was, and I used your analogy, and what he said was, how you know Kamala wasn't going to do it? I said, man, let me ask you a question. I said, if I'm punching you in your mouth over and over and over, are you going to worry about the next person if he going to hit you in the mouth? Or are you figuring out a way to stop me from hitting you? I'm going to try to stop you. I say, so why you worry about what Kamala would have done and scared to talk about what's happening right now?
Exactly. It's sad. That's what I'm saying. These dudes is fucking cowards. They beat up on the Democrats because they know if it was to happen, it will most likely happen through democratic means, right? Okay, now you're in power. Since like you told me, we fight white supremacy. Like, so where the hell? What are you, y'all bitches is quiet as a church mouse now? What happened to we fight white supremacy on bullshit? Again, it's a whole Republican. As long as there's a white man there demeaning black people, especially black women, we're cool with it. We're just cool with it.
Let me tell you something before you get off here. You know, there's some company, and of course I won't buy this, have made a box of 9mm ammunition with Donald Trump on the cover.
What? What? Nah, that's an act of war right there, buddy. That's
Matter of fact, I'm finna let you.
That's a domestic terrorist act right there.
Matter of fact, I'm gonna let you see it. Can you see me?
Yeah.
Do you see that?
Hold on. Let me trying to get it bigger. Hold on, my bad. I'm trying to get to the image where it could. I can see it.
How about?
Yeah, I can see it. Wow.
You know I'm not buying none of them. Yeah. That's the thing. So when we come together to get on, because we was trying to figure out a way to people that donate make money from it. Well, we wouldn't come. You in stores that selling shit like this. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Wow.
That's
insane. I'm not surprised. I'm not saying that I'm surprised, but I mean, it's their time now, man. It's their time in the sun. And right now, in a way, I'm kind of glad this is happening because everybody thought that voted for Donald Trump thought that they were safe. They find out they're not safe. You know what I'm saying? Because right now, what they're saying, Walmart right now, their prices is going up. They're gonna get hurt in the pockets. Okay, so your hate and your vitriol for other people, your white supremacist ideology is gonna literally cost the way that you live, your standard of living. And let's see if they're okay with that. And I know they're not. You know, white people is not built like that. White people is not built like black and brown people to overcome adversity. They're just not. They're just simply not.
And by the way, my homeboy New Orleans, they have
Yo, you're breaking up. You're breaking up.
Okay. I mean, so can you hear me?
You're still breaking up a little bit. Yeah, you're getting worse. I can't hear you at all.
How about now? Can you hear me now?
You better.
Okay, well, my homeboy say in New Orleans they have already started with the say people they ain't understanding what's going on. So they already got parts in New Orleans with their military patrolling the streets, bro.
In New Orleans, I'm not. That's why New Orleans is a very, very extremely racist place, man. I heard that some guy that was a local there. He said every day, I heard this a while back, he drive to work. He said it's not that many roads. You got to take this road to go to work and come home. He said he get pulled over by the cops every day. He was like, license registration. He's like, bro, you know me. You know this is my car. You pulled me over last night. Like, come on, man. What you doing? You know, so I'm not what was it? Mike Johnson. That's his district, right? That's his state, right? The House Speaker for the Republicans.
I don't know. My phone going in and out, man. I'm going to listen offline. I don't even know if you understand me.
Oh, I can hear you. I don't know if you can hear me, but yeah. No, I was just saying how racist on Louisiana is, because the House Speaker Mike Johnson, you know, that's his state, and yeah, he's like this evangelical. You know, they always a Christian evangelical. You know, everything MAGA is just good, and he's the House Speaker or whatever. So I'm not surprised that they could get away with shit like that, because he's not going to stop anything like that from happening. But shout out to the ancestors or that person, whoever set that plantation on fire. I hope that it to be many more to come. So, you know, but that's about it. Kamu, I'm gonna let you go, brother. I really appreciate you for coming here. I know it's like really late where you are right now.
Yeah.
You know, so
yeah, no. Thank you, my brother. I really, really enjoyed myself here, bro. Like this was quite interesting, and I think it was a fruitful discourse. I really enjoyed it, man.
Yeah, me too, man. I enjoy your insight and your knowledge and the history of your country and everything. And I know maybe, you know what I'm saying, we could do like a part 2 and talk about, you know, that Afrikaner Boers compound. You know, one day we could just link up, we could do that, talk about that. And I know you're tired, but you're if you're still up, Bitter Medicine Podcast is 8:00 my time. There's a lot of Pan-Africans there, such as yourself. If you can make it, when you can make it, you'll be a great addition. You'll love that even more. You'll love that even more. But I do thank you for that, bro.
Yeah, no, thank you, my brother. Looking forward to the next one.
All right, man. Be safe, be good. Yeah. So, yeah, that's our brother Kamu. I'm just gonna play, because I don't know if anyone saw this. I'm gonna play this as an outro, and we'll pretty much end it right there. Just to put, you know, another dagger in FBA's back. How they pretty much cannibalizing their own, just to let you know that they're pretty much white supremacists. They're pretty much black white supremacists, because they're going in on their own people just by phenotype, because they don't. But I'll let the sister here say it all.
But as an African, I don't lie to y'all. But as an African American who looks real African, right? FBA niggas are annoying as fuck. I ain't even gonna hold y'all. Like, it was once upon a time where I think they were just defending African Americans, but it's just become a point where you niggas are becoming a nuisance. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, because to them, I look too African, so they just automatically assume I'm African, even though I said plenty of times, South Carolina. My grandma from South Carolina. I talk about South Carolina shit. They would still sit right here and question, are you actually African American because you look African? I'm not mixed. Right? I don't bleach. I'm not mixed. I don't perm my hair. That's probably the reason why. I just look black as fuck. Right? We not mixed in South Carolina. Some niggas might be. I'm not. Right? My family's not. My town's not mixed. Everybody's blackity black. Like, goddamn. Like, niggas. Like, I hate how motherfuckers just be talking because they don't know South Carolina like that, right? Like, nobody gives a fuck about South Carolina, which I understand. But if you're going to speak about a bitch from South Carolina, you could at least know a little bit. Like, y'all know how isolated the coast of South Carolina was. Like, everybody on that side is probably like 85 to 95% African, like, especially Gullah Geechee. Right? Especially Gullah Geechees, they're like 90% African too. But like, yeah, like, I'm just 90% African. That's why I look black. The rest of you niggas like 70. Right? Y'all white. You're white. That's why you're confused. You're white. That's why.
What's wrong with you? You niggas are crazy. What's wrong with you? You niggas are crazy. What's wrong with you? You niggas are crazy. What's wrong with y'all? You niggas are crazy. Black man, black man, black man. Nigga! Black man, black man, black man. Nigga! Black man, black man, black man. Nigga! Black man, black man, black man. Hey! What's wrong with you? You niggas are crazy. What's wrong with you? You niggas are crazy. What's wrong with you? You niggas are crazy. Black man, black man, black man. Nigga! What's wrong with y'all women? You niggas are crazy. And what's wrong with a black man? You niggas are crazy. What's wrong with y'all? You niggas are crazy. Let me tell you something about niggas. You niggas are crazy. And don't expect